The air feels thick with mystery, as if the earth itself holds its breath, waiting to share its story. Creation myths are more than tales whispered around ancient fires. They are the pulse of humanity's soul, the echoes of questions so profound they bind us together across time and space. Before science offered its explanations, before religions formalized rituals, there were these stories, raw, untamed, and breathtakingly human. In the quiet of a starlit night, a mother in a remote village once knelt by her child. Her voice, steady and soft, wove the tale of how the heavens came to kiss the earth. She spoke of gods who fought, bled, and sacrificed to shape rivers and mountains, her words painting pictures more vivid than any canvas. The child listened, wide-eyed, as the wind carried the scent of ancient soil, a reminder of how the world itself might remember. Across the ocean, another child sat in awe as an elder told of a great cosmic egg that cracked open, spilling life into existence. Life came not in a rush, the elder said, their eyes gleaming with wisdom, but in waves, each carrying a piece of what we are today. In that moment, the story became a part of the child, not just a tale, but a thread in the tapestry of who they would become. Creation myths breathe life into the intangible. They hold whispers of how we see ourselves, fragile yet capable of immense strength. They show gods who falter, struggle, and sometimes fail, only to rise again. And isn't that just like us? The messy, chaotic, and wondrous act of creation mirrors the chaos and beauty of human existence. Imagine a world before the written word, where everything was passed down through stories. People looked up at the stars, those pinpricks of light in an endless black, and asked questions that burned like fire in their hearts. Why are we here? Who made this? And why does it hurt sometimes, this gift of being alive? The answers came not in certainty but in stories that wrap mystery in understanding. In one story, a god tears themselves apart to make the world, their flesh becoming the land, their blood the rivers, their breath the wind. In another, it is love, aching, selfless, and pure, that shapes creation, the kind of love that gives everything and asks for nothing in return. And then there are the stories of mistakes, where a god stumbles, and from that stumble springs life, fragile but unstoppable. These myths aren't just ancient relics, they are reflections of the human heart. They whisper that creation isn't perfect, nor is it easy. It's messy, painful, and sometimes born out of destruction. But isn't that what makes it beautiful? In the cracks and fractures of these tales lies something so raw it pulls at your chest. It tells you that you're part of something bigger, that even in your struggles, you mirror the gods themselves. There's a story from a small, nearly forgotten culture where the world begins with laughter. The god laughs so hard that their joy spills out, forming the sun, the stars, and the first humans. And isn't that a beautiful thought? That laughter, that pure, uncontrollable joy, could be at the heart of everything? But not all stories begin in joy. In some, there is pain, loneliness, or the silence of an eternal void. A creator sits in this nothingness, pondering existence. Out of that deep solitude, they shape the first spark of light. It's not grand or glorious at first, it's fragile, a flicker. But that flicker grows, and soon it's enough to fill the darkness with something new. These myths reach across continents and centuries, whispering their truths in different tongues, but with the same heartbeat. They speak of connection, between the earth and the sky, the living and the divine, the past and what comes next. They remind us that creation doesn't end. It's ongoing, flowing through every birth, every invention, every moment where something new pushes its way into being. And just when you think you've grasped the meaning of one myth, another comes, shifting your perspective. What if creation wasn't a one-time act? What if it's a cycle, forever in motion, never complete? A god rests after shaping the world, only for another to come and add their touch, and another after that. There's always more to tell, more to create. The stories never really end. It begins with silence, a stillness so vast it feels like it could swallow everything. Then, out of that quiet, a spark ignites. A hand reaches, a breath stirs, a thought takes form. Creation gods are born in this moment, not as distant figures, but as forces alive and pulsing, embodying something primal and timeless. They are architects of worlds, yes, but more than that, they are mirrors of our deepest selves. In their actions, their triumphs, and their flaws, we see echoes of our own stories. Some walk into the void with deliberate purpose, sculpting the universe like an artist molding clay. These are the maker gods, steady, patient, and meticulous. Their hands are calloused from building mountains and carving rivers. They give life structure, weaving the threads of existence with care. Yet even they are not without their struggles. In some myths, their creations rebel. In others, their efforts unravel, and they must begin again. This archetype reminds us that creation is not a straight path, but a journey marked by trial and perseverance. Then there are the sacrificial creators, those who give up a part of themselves, sometimes their very being, to bring life into existence. A god might tear their body apart, their flesh becoming the earth, their bones the mountains, their blood the rivers. There's something achingly human about this act of giving everything for the sake of something greater. It is selflessness elevated to the divine. These myths whisper to us about the cost of creation and the beauty that can rise from sacrifice. The trickster creators, on the other hand, are anything but predictable. They stumble upon creation, often by accident, sometimes through sheer audacity. They are chaotic, irreverent, and endlessly fascinating. With a wink and a grin, they shape the world, their mischief turning chaos into order, albeit an imperfect order. Their antics remind us that creation doesn't have to be solemn or planned. Sometimes it's messy, accidental, and unexpected. And isn't that how some of the best things in life come to be? In the stories of feminine creators, the archetype shifts again. They are the birth givers, the nurturers of life. From their wombs, the world emerges, and from their tears, life is sustained. Yet they are not confined to softness. These goddesses are fierce and protective, embodying both the tenderness and ferocity of creation. They do not merely create, they defend, nurture, and guide their creations, showing a strength that feels both divine and deeply personal. Some creator gods are dual in nature, pairs that cannot exist without the other. They represent balance, light and dark, chaos and order, life and death. Together, they bring harmony to the cosmos. Without one, the other loses meaning. Their stories show us that creation isn't about perfection, it's about coexistence, about holding opposites in a fragile, beautiful balance. Across cultures, symbols emerge, weaving through these myths like golden threads. The cosmic egg, fragile yet containing infinite potential, speaks of beginnings. Within its shell lies the promise of everything, the stars, the earth, the first breath of life. When it cracks open, it's as if the universe exhales for the first time. The tree of life stands tall in many traditions, its roots buried deep in the earth, its branches reaching toward the heavens. It connects realms, bridging the gap between mortals and the divine, the seen and the unseen. Its fruit is often sacred, a gift or test that shapes the fate of humanity. Water, too, flows through these stories, carrying creation in its depths. It is both the womb of the world and the force that cleanses and renews. Whether it's a divine flood or the waters of chaos, it holds the dual power to destroy and create, reminding us of life's fragile balance. The creator gods themselves are often tied to these symbols. A god with a hammer might shape mountains, while another with a flame breathes warmth and light into the void. Their tools become extensions of their essence, showing that creation is not just about power but about purpose. What makes these archetypes so enduring is how they reflect our humanity. The creator gods struggle, falter, and sometimes fail. They act out of love, ambition, curiosity, or even loneliness. And in their stories, we see glimpses of our own journey. The act of creating, whether it's a family, a piece of art, or a new path in life, is fraught with challenges. But it's also laced with moments of wonder, where the impossible becomes real and something entirely new emerges. The symbols, the archetypes, the gods, they aren't just relics of ancient cultures. They are whispers in the wind, the pulse beneath the surface, the force that drives us to ask, what will we create next? The answer lies in the stories that are yet to be told. The skies stretch endlessly, vast and infinite, as if they are a canvas painted by the hands of something greater. For the Akan people of Ghana, that something greater is Nyam, the omnipotent creator, whose very essence pulses through the heavens. His name, often whispered with reverence, carries weight, Nyam, the architect of existence, the one who shaped the cosmos and gave breath to life itself. They say Nyam exists beyond the clouds, beyond the stars, where the mortal eye cannot see but where the soul can feel. His presence is not one of grandeur or spectacle, but of a quiet, undeniable power. To understand him is to understand the Akan belief that the universe is both vast and intimately connected, that every thread of existence is tied to the divine. Nyam's role as creator isn't a tale of explosions or chaos, it's a story of balance and harmony. In Akan cosmology, he is the source of all that is. The earth, fertile and abundant, owes its life to his vision. The skies, stretching endlessly above, hold his watchful gaze. Every mountain, river, and tree is a testament to his careful craftsmanship. He is both distant and near, transcendent yet immanent, a paradox that feels both comforting and profound. But Nyam did not create the world alone. The Akan speak of his partner, Asasia, the earth goddess, who brings life to his creations. While Nyam reigns in the heavens, Asasia nurtures the earth, making it fertile and sustaining the lives of those who walk upon it. Together, they form a balance, a divine partnership that mirrors the interconnectedness of all things. Nyam's role is to create, to shape the framework of existence, while Asasia gives it soul and sustenance. One story speaks of how Nyam crafted the sun to light the day and the moon to guide the night. He placed the stars in the sky as reminders of his watchful presence, their gentle glow a comfort to those who feel alone. The Akan say that when the wind blows, it carries Nyam's whispers, and when the rain falls, it is his blessing poured from the heavens. His acts of creation are not just distant events, but ongoing expressions of his care for the world. Yet, for all his power, Nyam remains elusive, a figure wrapped in mystery. The Akan do not depict him in physical form, for to do so would be to diminish his boundlessness. He exists in the stories, in the symbols, in the spaces where words falter and understanding begins. His omnipresence is a reminder that the divine is not confined to temples or shrines, but is woven into the fabric of everyday life. Nyam's connection to humanity is perhaps most poignant in the concept of destiny. The Akan believe that every soul stands before Nyam before birth, choosing its path in life. This act, called Phra, is a sacred moment where a piece of Nyam's divine essence is imparted to each being. The Phra is not just a spark of life, it is a thread that ties every individual back to the Creator, a reminder of their divine origin. But Nyam is not only a creator, he is also a teacher. Through his actions and stories, he imparts lessons about balance, respect, and humility. One myth tells of how Nyam once withdrew the rain, leaving the earth parched and barren. It was only when humanity turned to him in humility, acknowledging their dependence on his gifts, that he restored the rain. It is a story that speaks of gratitude, a reminder that creation is not just a gift but a trust. For the Akan, Nyam is not a distant god. His presence is felt in the rhythm of daily life, in the sowing of seeds, in the laughter of children, in the gentle rustle of leaves. To call upon Nyam is to call upon the very essence of existence, to seek guidance and strength from the source of all things. And yet, for all his majesty, Nyam is not unapproachable. His stories reveal a God who understands the struggles of humanity, who listens to their prayers and answers in ways that are both profound and subtle. His creation is not just a world but a home, a place where life can flourish and where the divine and the mortal can meet. The sky that stretches above, the earth that holds us, the air that fills our lungs, all of it carries traces of Nyam's touch. He is the beginning and the ongoing, the unseen yet undeniable force that reminds us of the beauty and mystery of creation. And as the Akan say, when you look to the heavens, you feel his presence. In the beginning, there was nothing but an infinite expanse of water, silent and dark, stretching endlessly in all directions. Above it loomed Mbambo, also known as Bumba, the great creator of the Kuba people. He was alone, floating in this void, his vast white form gleaming against the blackness, carrying within him the potential for all that could ever be. Yet, with all his power, Bumba was in pain, a searing, unbearable ache in his stomach that seemed to churn with the force of creation itself. The agony grew unbearable. It was as though the universe was clawing its way out of him, demanding to be born. And then, in one violent, overwhelming moment, Bumba retched. From his very being, he expelled the contents of his stomach, and with them came the world. The first to emerge from Bumba's cosmic vomit was the blazing sun, radiant and fierce. Its light pierced the darkness, transforming the endless waters into a shimmering, golden expanse. Next came the gentle moon, its pale glow softening the harsh brightness of the sun, bringing balance to the cosmos. Finally, the stars tumbled out in a sparkling cascade, like scattered diamonds, dotting the sky and giving it depth and wonder. Bumba's body heaved again, and this time, life poured forth. The land rose from the waters, solid and grounding. Mountains erupted, their peaks piercing the sky, and rivers snaked their way across the earth, their waters cool and life-giving. The vegetation came next, bursting forth in a riot of green, trees with sprawling canopies, grasses swaying in the breeze, and flowers in colors that seemed to defy the imagination. But the act of creation was not over. Another convulsion shook Bumba's massive frame, and the animals emerged. First came the fierce leopard, its golden coat marked with dark rosettes, embodying strength and grace. Then the patient crocodile slid forth, ancient and unyielding. Birds of every kind soared into the newly brightened skies, their songs filling the silence with life and music. Fish splashed into the waters, while insects buzzed and crawled across the land. Each creature, from the smallest ant to the towering elephant, carried within it a spark of Bumba's essence, their diversity a testament to his creative vision. Finally, Bumba heaved once more, and humanity emerged. The first people stood upon the land, looking at the world around them with wide, wondering eyes. They were fragile yet filled with potential, their existence a blend of the divine and the mortal. Bumba gazed at them, his pain now replaced by a profound sense of fulfillment. The world he had carried within him, so long in the making, was finally complete. But creation is rarely perfect. The world, born from Bumba's body, was chaotic and untamed. The sun scorched the earth, rivers overflowed, and animals struggled to find their place. Humanity, though alive, was uncertain and fearful. Seeing this, Bumba's three sons stepped forward, each determined to shape the world further and bring order to the creation their father had unleashed. The first son took to the skies, arranging the stars into constellations and ensuring the cycles of day and night would remain steady. The second turned to the earth, teaching humanity how to plant seeds, harvest crops, and live in harmony with the land. The third ventured into the waters, guiding the fish and calming the rivers so they would nourish rather than destroy. Still, there was more to be done. Humanity, though grateful, was vulnerable and unsure of how to thrive in this vast, newly formed world. Bumba, seeing their struggle, shared with them the knowledge they needed to survive. He taught them the secrets of fire, the art of building shelters, and the rhythms of storytelling to pass down wisdom and keep his memory alive. The Kuba people tell this story with a mixture of awe and reverence. Bumba, their creator, is both a figure of immense power and one of deep sacrifice. His act of creation, so visceral and raw, reminds them that life is born not from perfection but from struggle. The very idea of the universe being vomited into existence carries a certain messy, chaotic beauty, a reminder that creation is as much about pain as it is about wonder. As the story goes, Bumba, exhausted from his labor, withdrew to the heavens to watch over his creation. Though he remains unseen, his presence is felt in every ray of sunlight, every ripple of water, every rustle of leaves. The stars at night are his eternal witnesses, silent and glowing, reminding humanity of the moment the world was born. And so, the Kuba people look to the skies and the earth, to the animals and the rivers, and they see Bumba's hand in it all. His story lives on in their hearts, a tale of beginnings that carries with it the profound truth that even the most chaotic origins can give rise to something beautiful and enduring. The land stretched vast and wild, kissed by the golden rays of the African sun and cradled by mountains that seemed to whisper ancient secrets. The Zulu people believed that this world, teeming with life and woven with intricate connections, was born from the will of Unkulunkulu, the Great One, the first being, and the creator of all things. He was not just a god, he was the beginning, the first ancestor, and the essence from which life itself unfolded. Unkulunkulu did not come from the heavens or descend from a celestial realm. He emerged, they say, from the primordial reeds of Ulanga, a mystical bed of reeds that stood in the endless, timeless void. In those reeds, life lay dormant, waiting for a spark. It was Unkulunkulu who stirred first, rising tall and strong, his body carrying the weight of all creation within it. From this sacred origin, he brought forth humanity, animals, and the very world they inhabit. As the first to awaken, Unkulunkulu saw the vast potential of the world yet to be. He began his work, molding the earth with his hands and shaping its contours with care. The rivers, flowing like veins, carried life-giving water to the farthest reaches. The mountains rose as his pillars, standing firm and eternal. The plains stretched wide, their fertile soil ready to nurture the seeds of his creation. Everything he touched bore his mark, a divine craftsmanship that spoke of balance and purpose. Unkulunkulu's first act was to create humanity, shaping men and women with the same care he had given to the earth. He gave them the gift of life and taught them how to live. He showed them how to hunt, how to plant crops, and how to build shelters to protect themselves from the elements. More than this, he gave them the gift of speech, enabling them to share stories, wisdom, and songs that would echo through generations. From the reeds, Unkulunkulu also brought forth animals of all kinds. The powerful lion roared its dominion over the savanna, while the graceful impala leapt through the grasslands. Birds filled the skies with their melodies, and fish danced in the rivers and streams. Each creature had its place, its role in the great web of life. To humanity, Unkulunkulu entrusted the task of tending this creation, of living in harmony with the animals and the land. But Unkulunkulu's gifts were not limited to the physical world. He gave the Zulu people their moral and spiritual foundation, teaching them the laws of respect and harmony. He explained the importance of Ubuntu, the philosophy of interconnectedness and mutual care that binds individuals to their community and to the earth. Through him, the Zulu learned that life was not just a gift but a responsibility, a delicate balance that demanded humility and gratitude. Yet, like all great stories of creation, Unkulunkulu's legacy is layered with mystery and complexity. Some tales paint him as a benevolent teacher, guiding humanity with patience and wisdom. Others speak of his withdrawal from the world, leaving people to navigate life with the knowledge he had imparted. His departure is not seen as abandonment but as an act of trust, a belief in humanity's ability to grow and thrive on its own. The story of Unkulunkulu is deeply tied to the rhythms of Zulu life. When the rain falls and nourishes the earth, they remember him as the one who first shaped the land. When a child is born, they feel his presence as the first ancestor, the one who gave them life. His essence is woven into their songs and dances, into the rituals that mark the seasons and the passages of life. Unkulunkulu's creation is not static but a living, breathing tapestry. The Zulu understand that the world he brought forth is both beautiful and fragile, a gift that must be cherished and protected. This understanding shapes their relationship with the earth, instilling a sense of reverence for nature and a deep connection to their ancestry. To this day, the name of Unkulunkulu is spoken with a mixture of awe and familiarity. He is the Great One, but he is also the first ancestor, a figure who bridges the divine and the human. His story reminds the Zulu of their origins, of the reeds from which they came and the Creator who set them on their path. When they look to the earth and sky, they see his work, and in their hearts, they carry his teachings. His presence lingers in the whispers of the wind, in the rustling of the reeds, and in the enduring spirit of a people who honor the gift of life he bestowed. In the infinite expanse of the sky, where the stars shimmer like scattered diamonds, the story of Mawu-Lisa begins. There were not one, but two, an eternal pair intertwined in purpose and harmony, embodying the perfect balance of masculine and feminine. Together, they stood at the heart of creation, shaping the world with equal parts strength and nurture, fire and water, sun and moon. Mawu, the gentle, compassionate goddess of the moon, represented wisdom, fertility, and nurturing care. She was the cool night breeze that brought solace after the burning heat of day, the soothing glow that softened the harsh edges of existence. Lisa, the powerful and fiery god of the sun, was her counterpart. He embodied strength, vitality, and the relentless energy that drove creation forward. He was the blazing heat that fueled life, the force that demanded action and progress. Together, they were Mawu-Lisa, the divine duality of the Yu and Fan people of West Africa. Their unity was not just a partnership but a cosmic truth, a lesson that nothing in the world could exist without balance. Masculine and feminine, day and night, strength and gentleness, these forces were not opposites but complements, bound together in an eternal dance. When the time came to create the world, Mawu-Lisa's work began. They looked upon the formless void, and from their union, the earth was born. Mawu, with her patient wisdom, shaped the land with gentle hands, sculpting mountains that reached for the heavens and valleys that cradled rivers. Lisa infused the land with energy, igniting volcanoes and filling the sky with light. Every detail bore their mark, a seamless blend of their contrasting yet harmonious natures. The oceans and skies came next. Mawu, ever nurturing, poured forth the waters that would sustain life. Rivers flowed from her fingertips, their gentle currents nourishing the land. Lisa, with his fiery spirit, commanded the winds and storms, his voice rumbling in thunderclaps and flashing across the skies in bolts of lightning. Together, they gave the earth its pulse, a rhythm that echoed their duality. Then came the creatures of the world. Mawu, the mother of all, formed animals with care, giving each its unique role and nature. She created the soft pelt of the antelope, the graceful wings of the heron, and the silken fur of the leopard. Lisa breathed life into them, filling their bodies with vitality and instinct. Under his watchful eye, they moved, roared, and soared, their existence a testament to the vitality he imbued. Finally, Mawu-Lisa turned their attention to humanity. Mawu, with her tender hands, shaped the first humans from clay, crafting their bodies with precision and love. Lisa, ever the life-bringer, breathed fire into their hearts, awakening their spirits and giving them the drive to survive and thrive. These first humans were born in the image of their creators, carrying within them the balance of masculine and feminine, reason and passion, calm and energy. Mawu-Lisa's creation was complete, but their work did not end there. They entrusted humanity with the knowledge of harmony, teaching them the importance of balance in all things. Mawu taught them to plant crops, tend the land, and care for one another with kindness and empathy. Lisa, meanwhile, instilled in them the courage to face challenges, the strength to protect their families, and the fire of ambition to build and explore. Yet, as humanity grew, so too did their struggles. The lessons of balance were not always easy to uphold. There were moments when the fiery energy of Lisa burned too bright, leading to conflict and destruction. Other times, Mawu's cool wisdom was forgotten, and humanity lost sight of compassion and unity. Even so, the story of Mawu-Lisa endured, a guiding light reminding the Yu and Fan people of the harmony they were meant to embody. In their myths, the celestial lovers never truly left their creation. Mawu dwells in the moon, watching over the night with her gentle glow, while Lisa reigns in the sun, illuminating the day with his brilliance. Their presence is felt in every sunrise and sunset, in the ebb and flow of the tides, and in the rhythm of life itself. Each day begins with Lisa's fiery light and ends with Mawu's soothing embrace, a cycle that reflects the eternal dance of their union. For the Yu and Fan, Mawu-Lisa are more than creators, they are a symbol of what it means to live in harmony. Their story speaks of the power that comes from unity, the beauty of embracing both strength and gentleness, and the truth that all creation is born from balance. When the night falls and the moon rises, or when the sun ascends to light the day, the people remember. They see in the skies not just celestial bodies, but the eternal love and balance of Mawu-Lisa, the dual creators who gave them their world. Beneath the boundless skies of ancient Sumer, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers breathed life into the cradle of civilization, there existed a divine partnership that shaped humanity's beginnings. Enki and Ninhursag, two mighty deities, stood as creators not just of life, but of the intricate web that bound all living things to the earth and to each other. Their story is etched in clay tablets and whispered through the winds of Mesopotamia, a tale of collaboration, wisdom, and the profound connection between gods and their creations. Enki, the god of wisdom and fresh water, was a figure of ingenuity and boundless creativity. His domain was the Abzu, the vast subterranean reservoir that fed the rivers and springs. The waters of the Abzu held the secrets of life itself, and Enki wielded its power with mastery. Beside him stood Ninhursag, the great mother goddess of the earth, whose name meant Lady of the Sacred Mountain. She was the nurturer, the giver of life, and the embodiment of the fertile lands that surrounded the rivers. When the time came to shape the world, it was not a solitary endeavor but a shared purpose. Enki, with his flowing intellect, envisioned a world teeming with life and order. Ninhursag, with her nurturing spirit, was the force that brought that vision to fruition. Together, they began their work, crafting the earth with the precision of artisans and the care of parents. Enki carved rivers into the land, their serpentine paths bringing water to the parched soil. He filled the seas with fish and created marshes where life could flourish. Ninhursag, with her hands of creation, molded the mountains and valleys, shaping the earth into a fertile cradle. She planted the seeds of life in the soil, coaxing plants and trees to grow, their roots drinking deeply from the waters Enki had provided. But their most profound act of creation came when they turned their attention to humanity. The gods needed stewards for their earthly domain, beings who could tend the land, honor the divine, and carry forward the balance they had established. It was Enki who first conceived of humanity, and Ninhursag who gave it form. Taking clay from the banks of the Euphrates, Ninhursag shaped the first humans. The clay was soft and rich, infused with the essence of the earth she so lovingly nurtured. Enki, with his wisdom, breathed life into them, his gift transforming the lifeless figures into beings of flesh and blood. These first humans were fragile yet filled with potential, their hearts carrying the spark of divine creativity and their hands capable of shaping the world around them. Enki and Ninhursag's collaboration did not end with creation. They remained deeply intertwined with the lives of their human children. Enki, ever the innovator, taught them how to irrigate the land, build canals, and harness the river's power for agriculture. Ninhursag, the eternal mother, taught them the cycles of the earth, the secrets of planting and harvesting, and the importance of nurturing not just the land, but one another. Their partnership was not without tension, for even gods are not immune to conflict. One tale speaks of Enki's insatiable curiosity leading him to eat forbidden plants that Ninhursag had created. In her anger, she withdrew her nurturing touch, causing Enki to fall gravely ill. The balance they had maintained was disrupted, and the earth itself suffered. But Ninhursag could not bear to see Enki suffer. In a gesture of forgiveness and compassion, she healed him, creating 8 new deities from his pain to restore balance to the world. This act of reconciliation reinforced the profound bond between them, a reminder that even in the face of discord, creation thrives through unity and understanding. Their story is woven into the fabric of Sumerian life, a reflection of the values that shaped their civilization. The partnership of Enki and Ninhursag symbolizes the harmony between intellect and nurture, between water and earth, and between male and female forces. It is a tale that speaks not only of beginnings but of the enduring interplay of balance and care required to sustain the world. When the rivers flow, their waters kissing the fertile soil, the spirit of Enki and Ninhursag is alive. In the rustling leaves of date palms and the golden fields of barley, their legacy endures. And in the hearts of those who remember, their partnership stands as a testament to the divine collaboration that gave life to a world of boundless possibility. In the beginning, there was only the vast, formless chaos of none, the primordial waters. There was no land, no sky, no light, only an endless expanse of darkness and stillness. But from this void, from the nothingness that stretched beyond imagination, a single spark of will emerged. That spark was Atum, the self-created, the eternal force who would give shape to all that existed. Adam was not born of a mother or father, nor shaped by any divine hand. He willed himself into existence, rising out of none as a shining beacon of potential. In this solitary emergence, Adam was everything and nothing all at once, creator, sustainer, and destroyer. His name carried the weight of completeness, for he contained within him the seed of all life. Standing on the first hill that emerged from the waters, the Benben stone, Adam gazed upon the endless void that surrounded him. The silence was heavy, the emptiness oppressive, but Adam was undeterred. He knew he held the power to bring forth creation, to transform chaos into order. Alone, yet filled with boundless energy, he began the act of shaping existence. From his essence, Adam brought forth Shu, the god of air, and Tefnut, the goddess of moisture. They were his first children, born not of union but of his own creative force. Some say they were drawn from his mouth, others claim they were formed from the fluids of his body. But however they came to be, their presence broke the stillness of the void, introducing duality, the lightness of air and the life-giving wetness of water. Shu and Tefnut, in turn, began to create. They gave birth to Geb, the earth, and Nut, the sky, who were locked in a tight embrace. But Adam, seeking to establish order, commanded Shu to separate them. With great effort, Shu lifted Nut into the heavens, allowing Geb to stretch out below her. In this separation, the first space for life was formed, a place where the sun could rise, where rivers could flow, and where the seeds of life could grow. From the union of Geb and Nut came Osiris, Isis, Set, and Nephthys, deities who would shape the destiny of gods and mortals alike. But even as the world began to fill with life, Adam's presence lingered, a constant reminder of the first act of creation. He stood as Ra during the day, illuminating the world with the sun's brilliance, and retreated as Adam in the evening, signaling the cycle of renewal and rest. Yet Adam's work was not without struggle. In the vastness of chaos, Shu and Tefnut once became lost, wandering into the unknown. The absence of his children grieved Adam, and his tears fell upon the earth. From these tears, humanity was born, fragile yet filled with divine potential. Adam's sorrow became humanity's essence, a mixture of imperfection and divinity, a reminder that life itself was a gift forged in the midst of loss. In Egyptian belief, Adam's act of self-creation and the subsequent birth of the universe was not merely an origin story. It was a lesson, a reflection of the unyielding force of will and the necessity of balance. Chaos and order were not enemies but partners, two sides of the same cosmic coin. From the swirling depths of none to the structured world of gods and men, Adam's journey symbolized the triumph of determination over the void. Even as the ages passed, Adam remained a central figure in the Egyptian pantheon, revered as the great architect of existence. His image often depicted him holding the ankh and scepter, symbols of life and power. In his role as a creator, he represented the infinite potential within all things, a force that could shape not only worlds but destinies. In the quiet moments at dusk, when the sun dips below the horizon, it is said that Adam's spirit lingers in the fading light. It is a reminder of beginnings and endings, of the solitary God who rose from the waters to breathe life into the cosmos. And in the shadows that follow, the whispers of his creation echo, an eternal hymn to the self-made God who gave birth to the universe from the boundless chaos of none. In the stillness before time began, when the earth was formless and void, and darkness blanketed the deep, a voice rang out, commanding the cosmos into being. This voice, eternal and absolute, belonged to Yahweh, the Creator. His word carried a power unlike anything the world had ever known, for it was through his voice alone that existence took its first breath. With nothing more than spoken intent, he shaped the universe, threading light through the void and setting the stage for all that would follow. The Genesis account of creation begins not with grand celestial battles or the birth of gods from chaos, but with simplicity and purpose. "Let there be light," Yahweh declared, and light came into being, illuminating the primordial void. The act was immediate, absolute, and deeply profound. It was not the work of hands or tools but the sheer force of will, a divine simplicity that set Yahweh apart from the anthropomorphic gods of neighboring cultures. This act of creation unfolded in 6 deliberate stages. On the first day, light and darkness were separated, creating the concept of time through the cycle of day and night. On the second, Yahweh divided the waters, crafting the heavens above and the seas below. The third day saw the birth of land, solid and fertile, and the vegetation that would clothe it. Each step carried precision and intention, a meticulous design that hinted at a world crafted not in haste, but with care and love. By the fourth day, Yahweh adorned the heavens with lights, the sun to rule the day, the moon to guide the night, and the stars to scatter beauty and wonder across the sky. These celestial bodies were not gods, as they were in other traditions, but creations, obedient to their Maker. On the fifth day, life stirred in the waters and the skies as creatures of the sea and birds of the air sprang into existence, vibrant and diverse. The sixth day brought forth the animals of the land, each according to its kind, and then the pinnacle of creation, humanity. Unlike the beasts of the field or the birds of the air, humans were formed in Yahweh's image, a reflection of his divine essence. "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness," he proclaimed, imbuing humanity with a unique spark of creativity, reason, and moral capacity. From the dust of the ground, Yahweh shaped Adam, and with his own breath, gave him life. It was an act of intimacy, of connection, as if Yahweh was pouring a piece of himself into his creation. Eve followed, formed from Adam's side, symbolizing partnership, unity, and the shared stewardship of the earth. But Yahweh's work did not end with the act of creation. He blessed what he had made, declaring it very good. This affirmation was not a mere pronouncement, it was an acknowledgement of harmony, of a world where every element worked in concert. It was a vision of perfection, unmarred by the discord that would later come to define human existence. The historical context of Genesis offers layers of meaning that deepen the narrative's resonance. Written or compiled during times of upheaval and exile, such as the Babylonian captivity, the account of Yahweh's creation served as a counterpoint to the polytheistic myths of surrounding cultures. Where the Babylonian Enuma Elish described creation as the result of conflict between warring deities, Genesis presented a creator who brought order from chaos through peace and intention. Yahweh's creation was not born of violence or struggle but of love and purpose. This distinction mattered deeply to the ancient Hebrews. Yahweh's sovereignty over creation affirmed their identity as his chosen people and offered hope amidst their suffering. If he could tame the formless void and bring light from darkness, he could surely restore them from exile and chaos. Creation was not just a distant past event, but an ongoing promise of renewal and redemption. As the story unfolded, Yahweh placed Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, a paradise teeming with life and beauty. There, they were given dominion over all creatures and tasked with tending the land. This role was not one of exploitation but of stewardship, a divine partnership in which humanity worked alongside Yahweh to nurture his creation. The garden was a microcosm of the world's potential, a glimpse of what life could be under Yahweh's guidance. But creation was also fragile, a delicate balance that could be disrupted by human choice. The introduction of free will into the narrative hinted at the struggles to come, where humanity's decisions would ripple through history, shaping their relationship with Yahweh and the world he had made. The story of Yahweh as creator is both timeless and deeply rooted in its historical context. It speaks to the human yearning for meaning, for connection, for a sense of belonging in a vast and often chaotic universe. It is a narrative of beginnings, of a God who, with deliberate care, brought forth light from darkness and life from dust. And though the world has changed, the echoes of that first act of creation still linger, a reminder of a power that shaped not just the earth, but the very essence of what it means to be alive. In the endless expanse before time began, when there was neither sky nor earth, only a yawning chasm of void called chaos existed. From this formless state of infinite nothingness, a presence emerged, a being both vast and nurturing, whose essence was the earth itself. This was Gaia, the primordial mother, the life-giver who would become the foundation of all that was, is, and would ever be. Gaia was not merely a goddess, she was the earth, her body forming the soil, mountains, and seas, her spirit imbued in every living thing. But Gaia's existence, though immense, was solitary. The vastness of her being stretched outward into eternity, unshaped and unshared. She yearned for something to complement her, to balance her vast expanse with an opposing force. From within her depths, she brought forth Uranus, the sky. Uranus was ethereal and boundless, his shimmering dome arching over Gaia, creating a union of earth and heaven. Together, they became the first divine pairing, the foundation upon which all creation in Greek myth would rest. Theirs was a connection both intimate and eternal, an inseparable bond of opposites that gave birth to the world's structure. As Uranus enveloped Gaia, their union birthed the first generation of beings, powerful and otherworldly, known as the Titans. Among them were Oceanus, the endless waters, Hyperion, the brilliance of light, and Cronus, the enigmatic force of time. These children were vast in their powers, reflections of the primal forces that governed the cosmos. But their union also gave rise to others, beings of chaos and dread. The Cyclopes, with their single, piercing eyes, and the Centimanes, the hundred-handed giants, were born from Gaia's fertile womb. These monstrous offspring, though part of her, were loathed by Uranus. Their presence disrupted the harmony he sought to impose, their forms too wild, too untamed for his vision of the cosmos. In his disdain, Uranus sought to hide them away, imprisoning them deep within Gaia herself. This act of betrayal, of burying her children within her body, caused Gaia unimaginable anguish. Her love for Uranus was now tainted with a bitterness that could not be undone. Her grief turned to rage, and her nurturing nature gave way to vengeance. Gaia, the mother of all, sought to liberate her children and punish the one who had wronged her. In the stillness of night, she whispered her plan to her Titan children. She crafted a great sickle of unyielding flint, sharp and cold, a weapon forged from her very essence. But fear gripped the Titans, none dared to rise against their father. None, save Cronus, the youngest and most ambitious of them all. With Gaia's guidance, Cronus lay in wait for Uranus. As the sky descended to embrace the earth, Cronus struck. The sickle, wielded with the fury of a betrayed mother and the determination of a rebellious son, severed Uranus from Gaia. The heavens were ripped from the earth, and with it, the balance of their union shattered. Uranus's cries echoed across the cosmos as his blood fell upon Gaia, soaking into her soil and giving rise to new forms of life. From this act of violence and separation came the Furies, beings of vengeance, the Gigantes, towering warriors, and the Melii, the ash tree nymphs. Uranus's severed power retreated to the farthest reaches of the heavens, where he became a distant, passive force, no longer able to dominate Gaia. The earth and sky were forever divided, their bond reduced to memory and myth. In the aftermath, Gaia's relationship with her children grew complex. Cronus, having overthrown Uranus, became the new ruler of the cosmos, but his reign carried its own shadows. Gaia's love for her descendants remained, but her heart bore the scars of betrayal and loss. The harmony she had sought to create had been marred by cycles of power, rebellion, and vengeance, a pattern that would define the Greek pantheon for generations to come. The story of Gaia and Uranus is more than a tale of creation, it is a reflection of the paradoxical nature of life itself. From their union sprang both beauty and terror, harmony and discord. Gaia's nurturing spirit coexisted with her fierce protectiveness, her boundless capacity to create matched only by her willingness to destroy when wronged. Uranus, for all his majesty, sought control over chaos, yet it was his inability to accept imperfection that led to his downfall. Their story, the foundation of Greek cosmogony, serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between creation and destruction, love and betrayal, chaos and order. It was through their union and their division that the world as the Greeks understood it came into being, a tapestry woven with both light and shadow, shaped by the primal forces of earth and sky. And so, the echoes of their story linger, etched into the fabric of existence itself. In the cold, desolate void of Ginnungagap, where fire and ice clashed in an eternal dance, there was no sun, no stars, no life. Only the grinding forces of primal chaos churned endlessly, waiting for a spark to ignite creation. From the icy rivers of Niflheim and the fiery embers of Muspelheim, something extraordinary happened, a droplet of ice melted and began to stir. From this union of opposites, Ymir emerged, the first of all beings, vast and unknowable, a giant whose presence filled the void. Ymir was no ordinary creature. His body was a living embodiment of chaos, immense and brimming with life's untamed potential. He was not created by gods, nor did he answer to them. He simply was, a force that defied comprehension. As he lay in the icy void, his sweat gave birth to other giants, monstrous beings who shared his chaotic nature. Life sprang from him without thought or purpose, a wild, unchecked generation of creatures that roamed the unformed world. Yet, creation is never stagnant, and the story of Ymir did not remain one of mere existence. Another being was born amidst the primal churn, a great cow named Atum. Unlike Ymir, she radiated calm and nurture. Her milk flowed like rivers, sustaining the first giant and quelling the hunger of chaos. But Atum, too, had a purpose beyond survival. As she licked the salty ice blocks around her, something extraordinary began to happen. Slowly, a figure emerged from the ice, a god named Buri, the ancestor of the Aesir. Buri's descendants, including Odin and his brothers Vili and Ve, would shape the destiny of the cosmos. Unlike Ymir, these gods represented order, intention, and creation born from design rather than accident. Their emergence marked a turning point, the beginning of a great struggle between the chaotic forces of the giants and the purposeful will of the gods. Ymir, immense and boundless, became both the foundation and the obstacle to this new world. His unchecked existence could no longer be tolerated, for his chaos left no room for the gods' vision. And so, Odin and his brothers made a fateful decision: Ymir must be destroyed. The battle was not swift, for Ymir's strength was unmatched. His massive form towered over the gods, his every movement shaking the void itself. But Odin and his brothers fought with determination, wielding the will of creation against the raw force of chaos. At last, with a mighty blow, Ymir fell, his colossal body collapsing into the nothingness of Ginnungagap. Yet, his death was not an end but a beginning. From his vast corpse, the gods began to craft the world. His flesh became the fertile earth, his blood the roaring seas, and his bones the towering mountains. The teeth and shards of bone became rocks, scattered across the land. From his hair sprouted trees, and his skull was lifted to form the heavens. Sparks from Muspelheim were caught within this dome, becoming the stars that now light the night sky. Ymir's eyebrows were shaped into a protective barrier, a fortress to hold back the chaotic forces of the giants who survived his fall. Within this boundary, the gods placed Midgard, the world of men, a realm of balance and life born from Ymir's sacrifice. But even in death, Ymir's essence lingered. His blood, which became the oceans, was vast and untamed, a reminder of his chaotic nature. The giants who survived his demise became an ever-present threat to the gods and their creation, symbols of the chaos that could never be fully eradicated. Ymir's story is one of paradox. He was the source of all life and the obstacle to its flourishing. His death was both a violent act of destruction and the ultimate act of creation. The gods, though victorious, were forever marked by the primal chaos from which they arose. The world they shaped bore the scars of its origins, a reminder that order and chaos are inseparable, locked in an eternal dance. To the Norse, Ymir was not simply a figure of myth, but a profound symbol of the universe's dual nature. Creation and destruction, life and death, chaos and order, these forces are not opposites, but intertwined threads that weave the fabric of existence. Ymir's colossal body, transformed into the world itself, stands as a testament to this truth, a foundation upon which all life rests. Amidst the dense, ancient forests of Celtic lands, where the whispers of leaves carried the secrets of the earth, there existed a presence, powerful, serene, and eternal. Cernunnos, the enigmatic horned god, was neither man nor beast, but something transcended, embodying the wild spirit of nature itself. His antlers stretched skyward like the branches of ancient oaks, connecting the heavens and the earth, while his gaze seemed to hold the mysteries of life and death. To the Celts, he was not just a god, he was the pulse of creation, the sacred balance of all things. Cernunnos was rarely spoken of in loud proclamations. His worship thrived in the quiet reverence of the forest, where his presence was felt in the rustle of leaves, the soft hum of the wind, and the rhythmic beating of a deer's heart. He was the guardian of life cycles, birth, growth, death, and rebirth. As the Green Man, he represented the verdant life force of the earth, while his antlers spoke of his kinship with the animal world. He was the bridge between humankind and the untamed wilderness, a reminder that creation did not belong to humans alone, but to every creature that walked, flew, or swam. The myths surrounding Cernunnos often paint him as the steward of the primordial world, a being who existed before time was measured. Unlike the skybound gods of other pantheons, he did not fashion the earth from chaos or carve rivers with celestial tools. Instead, his role in creation was one of nurturing, a quiet force that brought harmony to the cacophony of life. He did not demand worship but inspired awe, reminding all who encountered him that the world was a sacred tapestry of interconnected threads. One story tells of Cernunnos wandering the wilds, his every step bringing life to the barren earth. Where his feet touched the ground, grass sprouted, and flowers unfurled their petals. Rivers sprang forth from his presence, their waters teeming with fish, while the trees grew tall and strong, their roots intertwining with his essence. Animals, drawn to his gentle spirit, gathered around him, wolves beside deer, hawks perched with sparrows. In his presence, predator and prey existed in a fragile truce, as if the natural order paused to honor its creator. Yet, Cernunnos was not merely a god of growth and abundance. He was also the keeper of death, the silent force that ensured life cycle continued. In one tale, a great stag approached him, its strength waning and its time nearing an end. Cernunnos placed his hand upon the creature's head, whispering words only the earth could understand. The stag's body fell lifeless, but from its remains sprang new growth, plants nourished by its flesh, new creatures sustained by its sacrifice. This act was not one of sorrow, but a celebration of the eternal cycle that Cernunnos upheld. Cernunnos' connection to creation extended to humanity, though not as a distant ruler or stern patriarch. He was a guide, a reminder of humanity's place within the greater whole. The Celts saw him as a protector of the tribe and the wild, a mediator between the human world and the forces of nature. In the hunt, his presence was invoked, not for domination over the animals, but for balance, ensuring that life was taken with respect and only when needed. To honor him was to honor the earth, to live in harmony with its rhythms rather than seeking to conquer them. Cernunnos' antlers, often depicted in ancient carvings and reliefs, held particular significance. They represented the ever-changing cycles of life, much like a stag's antlers shed and regrow with the seasons. To the Celts, this was a sacred symbol of renewal, a reminder that death was not the end but a passage to something new. It is said that Cernunnos himself walked the line between worlds, guiding souls through the veil and ensuring the continuation of life's sacred dance. In the modern imagination, Cernunnos is often shrouded in mystery, his true nature fragmented by time and lost texts. Yet his essence remains vivid in the landscapes he once ruled. The rustle of the woods, the call of a stag, the fertile earth beneath one's feet, all echo his presence. His story is not bound by grand acts of creation or cosmic battles, but by the quiet, unyielding power of nature itself. Cernunnos teaches that creation is not a single event, but an ongoing act, a continuous interplay of life, death, and renewal. And through it all, he stands watch, the silent guardian of the wild, the eternal witness to life's beauty and fragility. In the beginning, there was nothing, no sky, no earth, no light. Just an endless, infinite void. From this chaos, a single cosmic egg floated, suspended in the dark. Within it, the elements swirled and struggled, merging in a desperate dance, all bound together in a fragile, suffocating space. From this primordial stew emerged Pangu, a giant of unimaginable size, his body growing from the egg's very essence. He awoke, stretched his limbs, and with a mighty roar, broke free from the shell that had contained him. As his eyes blinked open, they saw no horizon, only an all-consuming darkness. Pangu knew that he had been born not just from this egg, but from the very forces of creation itself. His heart pulsed with the power of 1,000 storms, and his breath, steady and deep, seemed to call the winds into existence. The sky above was thick and heavy, pressing down on the earth below, like a weight too great to bear. Yet, Pangu did not flinch. With his mighty axe, he struck the void, cutting a chasm through the dark, creating the very boundaries of the world. The first swing of his axe split the heavens from the earth, the sky rising ever higher, while the ground below spread further apart. Every stroke Pangu took reshaped the world, creating the rivers, the mountains, the forests, and the oceans. With each strike, the space between the two worlds expanded, the heavens soaring upward and the earth stretching downward. He worked tirelessly, day after day, year after year, his body growing stronger, his will unyielding. Pangu, the titan who had emerged from the egg, was no mere mortal. He was the force of creation itself. But the work was not without its cost. Pangu knew that as he shaped the world, his strength was fading. Each time he struck his axe into the endless void, a part of him was chipped away, his energy siphoned into the very things he was bringing into being. The rivers he carved, the mountains he raised, the forests he sowed, all were formed from his own essence, and with each creation, he grew weaker. As Pangu neared the completion of his monumental task, he looked upon the world he had made. The sky had risen so high that it could no longer be reached, and the earth was rich with life. The mountains were solid and unwavering, and the ocean stretched far and wide. The great rivers snaked through the land, and the winds blew freely across the plains. Pangu had shaped a world of balance, a world where all things could coexist. Yet, as he stood in the midst of his creation, Pangu knew his time had come. His body, drained of life, was no longer capable of holding the weight of the world. With his final breath, he collapsed into the earth, his body becoming one with the land he had forged. His flesh turned to soil, and his blood became the rivers that flowed through the world. His bones became the mountains, his teeth the stones, and his hair the trees that grew from the earth. Even his breath lived on, becoming the wind that swept through the land. In the years that followed, the world Pangu had created flourished. The elements, once wild and untamed, found harmony in the creation he had left behind. The heavens, still separated from the earth, stood as a testament to the mighty giant's sacrifice. The sun and moon rose and set in their eternal dance, and the stars glimmered in the night sky, their lights reflecting the hope and promise of a world born from the will of one godlike being. Pangu's influence in Chinese folklore is vast, and his myth serves as a powerful symbol of the unity between the human spirit and the natural world. In him, the ancient Chinese people saw not only the creator of their world, but a figure that embodied the very essence of balance and harmony. His myth tells of the primordial forces at play before the existence of civilization, where chaos reigned and all things were possible. Yet, it is also a story of sacrifice, a reminder that creation often comes with a cost, and the forces that give life to the world are not infinite. In Chinese culture, Pangu is revered as the archetypal figure of creation. His legend embodies the harmonious relationship between heaven and earth, human beings and nature. It speaks of how all things must work together to create a balanced and harmonious world, and how every act of creation carries with it an inherent cost. The story of Pangu also carries an enduring lesson about the fragility of life. Just as the earth was shaped from his very being, so too are all living things interconnected and dependent on one another. The rivers flow from his veins, the mountains rise from his bones, and the winds carry the breath of his spirit. Even in death, Pangu's presence endures, reminding the people of the world that everything is part of a greater cycle of creation and destruction. In the beginning, there was nothing but the swirling chaos of the cosmos. It was a time when the heavens, the earth, and the seas were all in disarray, drifting and mixing together like unformed clay. Amidst this void, two deities emerged, Izanagi and Izanami. Brother and sister, yet bound together by a profound cosmic bond, they stood as the divine architects of a world waiting to be born. The gods had ordered them to create the land, to shape it from the formless void. With the divine spear known as Aim no Nohoko, they stood at the edge of the chaos, peering into the abyss where the earth had yet to take shape. Izanagi, the male god, raised the spear high, and with a powerful thrust, plunged it into the swirling sea. The spear's point sank deep into the waters, and as it was pulled back, drops of brine began to drip and form into solid land. This land was the first island of Japan, Onagoro, the foundation upon which the world would grow. Izanagi and Izanami descended to this island, the land that had been born from their divine act, and together they began the task of creating more islands. But their creation was not only about the land, it was about the weaving together of the elements of life. They lived in the sacred space of the island, performing the ritual of marriage to solidify their bond, for they knew that only through their union would the world truly flourish. The gods danced around the pillars of the island, and through this sacred act, they gave birth to the rest of the Japanese islands, Awaji, Shikoku, Kyushu, and Honshu. As Izanami gave birth to the islands, each child came into being with the blessing of the gods. But the creation of life did not stop with the land. The couple, bound by the power of the heavens, also birthed a range of divine beings, kami, who would govern the elements of nature, the mountains, the seas, and all things living. From their union came gods who embodied everything the Japanese would hold sacred, including the forces of fire, wind, and rain, the creatures of the earth, and the vast seas. These beings were the guardians of the land, ensuring its protection and growth. But with creation comes inevitable tragedy. Izanami, as the goddess of life and death, suffered a terrible fate. While giving birth to the fire god Kagutsuchi, she was burned severely, and her body grew weak. The pain from her wounds became too much to bear, and as she lay dying, her spirit began to slip into the realm of the dead, Yomi, the land of darkness. Izanagi, filled with grief at the loss of his wife, descended to the underworld, determined to bring her back. He traversed the murky, shadow-filled realm, calling out for Izanami, but when he found her, the sight was not one of hope. Izanami had already taken on the form of a decaying corpse, her beauty gone, her once luminous spirit now fading. Desperate, Izanagi begged her to return, but Izanami, now bound by the laws of death, told him it was impossible. She was forever tied to Yomi. Before leaving, Izanagi made one final attempt, looking back at her even after she had asked him not to. When he saw the horrifying sight of his wife's decomposed body, a terrible, irremediable sadness washed over him. He fled from Yomi, pursued by his own sorrow and the darkness of the realm. As he returned to the land of the living, Izanami, filled with fury and heartbreak, cursed him, vowing to send spirits to harm the world he had worked so hard to create. Izanagi's journey marked a turning point. His heartache led him to the purification ritual, an act that cleansed him of the taint of the underworld. From this purification came new life. As he bathed in a sacred river, new gods were born from his body, some rising from his left eye, others from his right, and the sun goddess Amaterasu from his face. These deities, born from the union of life and death, shaped the world and its people. Through the actions of Izanagi and Izanami, the world was not simply created, it was imbued with sacred meaning. Their story reflects the cycles of life and death that govern all existence, the way creation and destruction work hand in hand to ensure the continuation of the universe. The islands of Japan, their lands, their people, and their gods were born from this cosmic dance of love, loss, and rebirth. Izanagi and Izanami are more than just mythological figures in the Shinto tradition, they are the embodiment of the forces that shape and sustain the world. Their union brought forth not just the islands of Japan but the very foundation of life itself. And even in the face of grief and loss, their legacy lives on in the gods, spirits, and natural forces that continue to govern the land, breathing life into a world that, like their myth, is eternally intertwined with the delicate balance of life, death, and renewal. In the boundless stretch of time, where the very fabric of existence is woven and unwoven in a cosmic dance, three divine figures stand at the heart of creation, preservation, and destruction. These three gods, Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, hold the universe in their hands, guiding it through an endless cycle that spans the vastness of eternity. Their roles are not just separate but deeply interwoven, each one relying on the others to maintain the balance of the cosmos. It is Vishnu, the preserver, who first sets the stage for creation. With his countless avatars, each one a manifestation of his divine will, Vishnu moves through time and space, ensuring that the world remains in harmony. As the god of preservation, Vishnu does not merely hold the world together. He nurtures it, watching over every life, every force, every being, ensuring that they flourish and thrive. But his work is not passive. He actively intervenes in moments of chaos, when the balance is threatened, appearing in various forms to restore order. Whether it's as the noble lion man Narasimha or the heroic King Rama, Vishnu's presence is felt whenever the cosmos falls into disarray. The story of creation begins with Vishnu's cosmic sleep. Floating on the ocean of the universe, Vishnu slumbers, and from his navel sprouts a lotus, upon which sits Brahma, the god of creation. With the divine wisdom that flows through him, Brahma opens his eyes to the void and sees nothing but endless darkness. Yet, he understands that from this darkness, something must emerge. And so, he begins his work. From Brahma's heart comes the impulse to create. He calls forth the elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and from them, he fashions the world. He shapes the heavens and the earth, places the stars in the sky, and crafts the rivers and mountains that will nourish all life. But Brahma does not stop at the physical world. He creates beings to populate it, gods, humans, animals, and plants. With each act of creation, Brahma pours his divine energy into the world, breathing life into it. Yet, as he creates, Brahma knows that creation cannot last forever. In the grand cycle of existence, his work will eventually fade, and it will be time for another to take the reins. Enter Shiva, the destroyer. To many, the word destroyer conjures images of violence and chaos. But Shiva is no mere bringer of destruction. His role is vital, for in destruction, there is rebirth. Shiva is the god who clears away the old to make way for the new, the god who dissolves what has outlived its purpose and prepares the ground for new creation. Without Shiva's destructive power, the world would be choked by stagnation, its energy depleted, its potential wasted. Shiva's dance of destruction is not one of chaos, but of cosmic rhythm. He performs the Tandava, a dance that embodies the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. As he spins through the universe, the world shakes with his every step, and time itself is measured in the beat of his dance. His destructive power is a necessary force in the cycle of creation. It is through destruction that the old is cleared away, making room for the new. And just as the fire burns away the dead wood to nourish the forest, Shiva's destructive energy clears the way for new forms of life to take shape. Between Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, the world flows in a constant cycle. When Vishnu sees that the world has fallen into disorder, he takes on an avatar and intervenes, restoring balance. When Brahma's work has reached its peak, he steps aside, knowing that the world he has created must eventually give way to change. And when the time comes for destruction, Shiva steps in, tearing down what is no longer needed so that the cycle may continue. This trinity, the divine triumvirate of creation, preservation, and destruction, forms the heart of Hindu cosmology. Their roles are not static but dynamic, each one acting in harmony with the others. They are the forces that move the universe forward, weaving the threads of time and existence, ensuring that life is born, lives, and then makes way for new life. In their interconnectedness, they embody the very essence of the cyclical nature of life itself. It is said that the cycle of creation continues in an endless loop, each cycle lasting eons. In this grand cycle, Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva are never idle. They are the heartbeat of the universe, ever present, ever active, and forever guiding the dance of existence. From the first stirring of the cosmos to the final moment of its dissolution, they remain the eternal guardians of creation, preservation, and destruction. And as the cycles continue, so too do the lives of those who live within them. The world is not stagnant, it moves, shifts, and grows, with every being playing its part in the grand cosmic rhythm. The cycle of creation, preservation, and destruction is not something to fear, but something to embrace. It is the very fabric of life, woven through the ages, a testament to the power and grace of Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. Each moment, each breath, is part of their eternal dance, and in it, all things find their place. The Hindu trinity of Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva is not just a story from ancient texts. It is a reflection of the world as it is, ever-changing, ever-evolving, and yet bound by a constant, unbreakable cycle. From the moment of creation to the moment of destruction, their influence is felt in every corner of existence. And in that eternal cycle, we, too, are part of the dance, moving ever forward, knowing that from the ashes of the old, new life will emerge. In the tranquil landscapes of Southeast Asia, where lush jungles meet the vast seas, there lies an ancient story, a story of divine creation, where the gods, like the delicate threads of a spider's web, weave the very fabric of existence. Among the deities who preside over these tales, Phra stands as one of the most revered and powerful, a creator god whose influence transcends the boundaries of mere myth. His role in the cosmos is both subtle and profound, reaching into the hearts of the Thai people, guiding them through the mysteries of life. Phra, often associated with the god Indra in Hinduism, is more than just a figure of power. He is the embodiment of divine wisdom, the ruler of the heavens, and the guardian of the natural world. In Thai cosmology, Phra is not just a remote figure sitting on his celestial throne, detached from the earth. He is deeply entwined with the very essence of creation, a force that governs both the material and spiritual realms. His actions are seen as the catalyst for the birth of the world and the guiding hand that nurtures it through its existence. The creation myth involving Phra paints a picture that is both simple and profound, echoing the essence of many Southeast Asian creation stories. According to tradition, in the beginning, there was only the void, nothing but endless darkness and emptiness. The world as we know it had not yet taken form. In this nothingness, Phra, as the embodiment of the divine, awakened. He looked upon the emptiness and saw the possibility of creation. From his celestial throne, Phra stretched out his hand and called upon the elements, the earth, the sky, the waters, and the winds, to come together. As his voice echoed through the void, the elements began to coalesce, shaping the world into a place of beauty and harmony. But Phra's act of creation was not just about the formation of the physical world. It was also the birth of order. In the quiet stillness of the cosmos, chaos had no place. Phra's wisdom infused the newly formed world with balance and harmony, ensuring that every living being would have a role to play in the grand design. The stars were placed in the heavens, the mountains rose from the earth, and rivers flowed to nourish the land. Everything had its place, every movement had its purpose, and everything was connected by the thread of Phra's divine will. The story of Phra's creation is not just a tale of how the world was born, it is also a reminder of the delicate balance that exists within the world. The creation story is woven with themes of harmony and interdependence. Phra is not merely the god who created the world, he is also its caretaker. His role is to maintain the balance, to ensure that the forces of nature remain in alignment. In the Thai worldview, creation is not a one-time event but an ongoing process, with Phra continually overseeing the health and well-being of the universe. For the people of Thailand, Phra is not just a distant deity. His presence is felt in every corner of life. The rain that falls upon the earth, the wind that whispers through the trees, the sun that rises every morning, all of these are believed to be the blessings of Phra, signs of his continuing care and involvement in the world. It is through his divine guidance that the rhythms of nature remain constant, and it is through his intervention that the cycles of life and death continue unabated. But Phra's influence extends beyond the natural world. He is also a god of moral order and justice. His creation of the world came with the establishment of laws, both divine and earthly, that govern the behavior of humanity. The Thai people look to Phra as the ultimate judge, the one who weighs the actions of mortals and rewards or punishes accordingly. In his eyes, there is no room for injustice, for he embodies the ideals of fairness and righteousness. In the rich tapestry of Southeast Asian creation myths, Phra stands as a figure of great importance, a deity who bridges the gap between the divine and the earthly. His creation story, like many others in the region, speaks to the profound connection between humanity and nature. The world, according to the Thai tradition, is not something separate from the divine but a reflection of it. In every blade of grass, in every drop of water, in every gust of wind, there lies the imprint of Phra's hand. Phra is also the embodiment of the cyclical nature of life. Just as the seasons change, so too does the world undergo cycles of birth, death, and renewal. Creation is not a linear process, but a repeating rhythm that is sustained by the divine forces of the universe. And it is through Phra-In's continued presence that these cycles continue, ensuring that life, in all its forms, remains in constant flow. For the people of Thailand, Phra-In is not just a god who created the world, he is the living pulse of the universe, the divine force that sustains it. In their eyes, every act of creation, every moment of beauty, and every instance of life is a reflection of his will. Phra-In's story is not just one of distant myth, it is a living truth that shapes the lives of millions, guiding them through the intricacies of the world with a steady hand. Feel Phra-In's presence, watching over the world he created. His creation is not just a physical one, but a spiritual one, where every soul finds its place in the grand design. The world is his canvas, and the people of Thailand are his children, ever guided by his wisdom and his love. In the heart of the vast plains, where the wind whispers secrets through the tall grass and the sky stretches endlessly above, the Lakota people hold a vision of creation that is deeply intertwined with the land, the spirit, and the universe. It is a belief that the world did not come into existence through a singular, distant event, but rather as a living, breathing manifestation of a great and all-encompassing force, the Great Spirit, or Wakantanka. Wakantanka, the divine presence, is not just the creator of the world, it is the world. It is in the rustling leaves, the mighty rivers, and the soaring birds. It is the heartbeat of the earth and the breath of the wind. Wakantanka is both an entity and an essence, an all-pervading force that is present in every living thing. The Lakota people do not view creation as a separate or distant event, but as a continuous unfolding, a process that is always happening, always moving, always evolving. According to Lakota beliefs, the world did not emerge from chaos or disorder. Instead, it was shaped by the careful, deliberate will of Wakantanka, who shaped the earth with a loving and sacred touch. The Great Spirit is not distant or detached from its creation, it is ever present, walking alongside all living beings, guiding them through life and death. The world itself is seen as a living being, with its own sacredness and spirit. To the Lakota, the earth is not just a home, it is a part of them, a mirror of their own soul. The act of creation is seen as a cooperative venture, where Wakantanka is not the sole force, but rather, it works in harmony with all elements of the universe. The Great Spirit did not simply will the world into existence, rather, it sparked the creation through the interdependence of nature and spirit. The sacredness of life is rooted in this understanding. Everything in the world, from the smallest grain of sand to the tallest mountain, has a role to play in the grand design. Nothing is insignificant. The stars above and the creatures below are all reflections of Wakantanka's will, each one part of the same cosmic rhythm. The Lakota people believe that the world, and everything in it, is connected by a sacred web of life. This web, woven by Wakantanka, binds all things together, ensuring that each part of creation serves a greater purpose. The earth, the animals, the plants, and even the humans are all interconnected, each one sustaining the other. There is no separation between the sacred and the mundane, no divide between the physical and the spiritual. Every action, no matter how small, has ripples that affect the world and its balance. To the Lakota, everything in life is sacred, and it is through this understanding that they live in harmony with the land and its creatures. In the Lakota creation myth, Wakantanka is often described as a force of balance and duality. The Great Spirit is both masculine and feminine, representing both strength and tenderness, creation and destruction. This duality reflects the natural cycles of life, birth and death, day and night, summer and winter. The Lakota people understand that creation is not a singular event, but a continuous process of birth, death, and renewal. The world is not fixed, it is a fluid and dynamic force, constantly shifting and evolving in response to the will of Wakantanka. The story of creation, as told by the Lakota, is not just a tale of how the world came to be, it is a story that teaches the people about their place in the cosmos. It reminds them that they are not separate from the world, but an integral part of it. The earth is their mother, the sky their father, and all things in between are their relatives. The land they walk upon is sacred, and their role is to protect it, to honor it, and to live in harmony with it. The animals, too, are considered sacred in the Lakota worldview. Each species has its own spirit, its own role to play in the world. The buffalo, for example, is seen as a provider, sustaining the Lakota people with its flesh, skin, and bones, while also teaching them the ways of survival. The eagle, revered for its strength and vision, is seen as a messenger between the earthly and the divine. Every creature, from the smallest insect to the mightiest predator, is an embodiment of Wakantanka's power and wisdom. Central to Lakota creation is the idea of reciprocity. The Great Spirit, in its creation of the world, provides for all living beings, but it is up to the people to honor and care for the land and the creatures that share it with them. This relationship is not one of domination, but of mutual respect and balance. The Lakota people believe that their actions have consequences, that what they do to the earth, they do to themselves. To harm the land is to harm their own spirit. This understanding guides their way of life, ensuring that every action, no matter how small, is taken with reverence and care. In Lakota traditions, ceremonies and rituals are a way to maintain the sacred balance between the people and the land. The Sun Dance, for example, is a sacred ceremony that honors Wakantanka and the spirit of the buffalo. It is a time of renewal, a time when the people come together to honor the Great Spirit and to reaffirm their connection to the land and to each other. These rituals are not just symbolic, they are a way of reinforcing the belief that creation is an ongoing process, one that requires constant attention and respect. The role of Wakantanka as the creator is not just a theological concept, it is a guiding principle that shapes every aspect of Lakota life. It is a reminder that everything is sacred, that everything is interconnected, and that the world is a place of balance and harmony. Through the teachings of the Great Spirit, the Lakota people have learned to live in harmony with the earth, to respect all living things, and to honor the sacredness of life. The story of Wakantanka's creation is not just a myth, it is a living truth that guides them through every season of life. It is a reminder that, in the grand scheme of the universe, they are but one part of a much larger whole, and that their actions matter in the cosmic balance. In the dense jungles of Central America, where the air is thick with mystery and the trees tower like ancient guardians, the story of Kukulkan and Gukumats, the feathered serpents, weaves together the cosmic fabric of the Mayan people. These twin gods, often seen as the same divine being under different names, are the heart of Mayan cosmology. They are not mere deities, they are the embodiment of the universe's breath, the pulse of creation itself, blending the heavens with the earth, the land with the sky. As the sun sets over the Thai landscape, casting its golden light across the land, one can almost. Kukulkan, whose name means feathered serpent in the Yucatec Maya language, is more than a god. He is a symbol of the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. His feathers represent the divine connection to the heavens, while his serpentine form signifies the deep, unyielding connection to the earth. His movements, like the flow of time, are both rapid and slow, a dance of cosmic forces that bring forth both destruction and creation. He is both the destroyer and the creator, the bringer of knowledge and the one who shrouds it in mystery. His essence is as much about transformation as it is about stability. He embodies the constant change that sustains the universe, never stagnant, always evolving. The myth of Kukulkan and Gukumats is not a singular event in time, but an ongoing story of cosmic creation. In the beginning, there was nothing but a vast expanse of water. It was into this abyss that Kukulkan and his counterpart Gukumats descended, bringing order to the chaos. Gukumats, whose name translates to feathered serpent in the Kich Maya language, is often depicted as the one who breathes life into the world, while Kukulkan is the one who shapes it, steering it toward balance and harmony. In the darkness of the primordial waters, Gukumats exhaled his sacred breath, and with it, the first winds, the winds of life. These winds, powerful and swift, began to stir the waters, creating ripples that would eventually form the foundation of the earth. Kukulkan followed, weaving his serpent-like body through the currents, guiding the waters to form mountains, valleys, and rivers. Together, they created the very landscapes that would become the sacred ground for the Mayan people. Their divine partnership shaped not just the physical world but the spiritual realms as well, creating a harmonious link between the seen and unseen, the earthly and divine. As the earth took shape, Kukulkan and Gukumats breathed life into it. They sowed the seeds of all living things, animals, plants, and humans. It was said that they crafted the first humans from maize, the sacred grain that would become the lifeblood of the Mayan people. Maize was no ordinary food. It was seen as a gift from the gods, a symbol of the people's deep connection to the earth and the divine. Kukulkan's influence over maize would come to define the spiritual practices of the Mayans, for maize was not only their sustenance but also their link to the divine forces that governed the world. The creation of humans was not a simple act of fashioning bodies from the earth. It was a sacred act, a covenant between the gods and humanity. Kukulkan and Gukumats, with their divine wisdom, knew that humanity would need guidance. They imbued humans with knowledge, teaching them the ways of agriculture, mathematics, and astronomy. The Mayans, in turn, revered these gods as the bringers of civilization. Kukulkan was not just a creator but a teacher, one who imparted the wisdom of the cosmos to the people. However, with creation came the necessity for balance. Kukulkan's role was not just to create, but to maintain the cycles of the world. His movements through the sky and across the earth marked the seasons, ensuring that life would continue. The winds he summoned were not only a force of creation but a force of destruction. In this duality, the Mayan understanding of life was made clear. Creation and destruction were two sides of the same coin. Kukulkan's breath could create storms, flooding the earth, but it could also bring calm winds that nurtured crops. His power was not one of dominance but of equilibrium. As the Mayan people grew, so too did their connection to Kukulkan and Gukumats. The Great Pyramids that dot the landscape of the ancient cities are not just architectural feats, they are symbols of this divine partnership. The pyramid at Chichen Itza, for example, is aligned with the celestial movements, a testament to the Mayans' understanding of the cosmos and their relationship with the gods. During the equinoxes, the shadow of the pyramid creates the illusion of a serpent descending the steps, a visual representation of Kukulkan's presence on earth. It is said that during these times, the god himself descends from the heavens to be among his people, a reminder of the ever-present force that guides their lives. But Kukulkan's influence was not confined to the physical world. He was a deity who bridged the gap between the human realm and the divine. As a feathered serpent, he symbolized the union of opposites, the earth and sky, the physical and spiritual. He was both a god and a guide, leading his people not just in material matters, but in matters of the soul. His wisdom was sought in times of hardship, his favor sought before battles and important decisions. His presence was not limited to sacred ceremonies, but was woven into the very fabric of daily life. Kukulkan's myth is not just a story of divine creation, it is a reflection of the Mayan view of the world. In the Mayan understanding, life was cyclical, a constant ebb and flow between creation and destruction, life and death. Kukulkan was a god who embodied this balance, a reminder that all things in the world, whether physical or spiritual, were interconnected. He was the wind that stirred the waters of creation and the serpent that slithered through the cycles of time. His role was not to control the world, but to guide it, ensuring that the balance was maintained. Even today, the legacy of Kukulkan and Gukumats endures in the hearts of the Mayan descendants, who continue to honor the feathered serpent as a symbol of their divine connection to the cosmos. The ancient cities that still stand, though weathered by time, are a testament to the enduring influence of these gods. The myths surrounding Kukulkan and Gukumats are not mere stories of the past, they are living traditions, passed down through generations, echoing the eternal dance of creation and destruction, life and death, that continues to shape the world. High in the Andean mountains, where the peaks pierce the sky and the valleys cradle ancient secrets, Viracocha stands as the supreme creator deity of the Inca people. He is not just a god, he is the very embodiment of the earth, the sky, and the eternal forces that bind them together. His name, spoken in hushed reverence, carries with it the weight of millennia, echoing through the sacred valleys and across the windswept plains. To the Inca, Viracocha is the father of all, the one who gave birth to the world, to humanity, and to the order that governs both. The story of Viracocha begins in the time before time, in a world swallowed by darkness. There was no light, no form, just an endless, empty expanse. Viracocha, in his boundless wisdom, saw that the world could not remain in chaos forever. With a thought, he conjured the first light. From that light came the sun, and with the sun, the earth began to take shape. The mountains rose from the ground, the rivers carved their paths, and the oceans swelled with life. Viracocha had not simply created the world, he had breathed life into it, filling the void with purpose. But Viracocha's creation was not limited to the land. He turned his gaze toward the heavens, fashioning the stars, the moon, and the cosmos that would govern time and seasons. As he molded the earth, his presence infused everything, the rocks, the plants, the animals, and the very air. In Viracocha's world, creation was not a distant, detached event, it was a living, breathing process. His essence coursed through every element, a reminder that the divine was always near, always intertwined with the world below. As the world took form, Viracocha's next act was even more extraordinary, the creation of humanity. But this was no simple act of divine will. Viracocha, knowing that the people he would create would need to be more than mere vessels of flesh, crafted them in his own image. The first humans were made from clay, molded with the care and precision of an artist shaping their forms. Once their bodies were complete, Viracocha breathed life into them, and they opened their eyes to see the world he had made. These first humans, gifted with the breath of life, were the Inca ancestors, the ones who would walk the earth with the wisdom of their divine creator. They were the chosen people, and Viracocha had given them the tools to thrive, the knowledge of agriculture, the understanding of time, and the strength to endure the harsh mountain life. Viracocha's love for his creations was immeasurable. He provided them with the means to survive in the unforgiving Andes, teaching them how to sow the land, how to read the stars, and how to honor the sacredness of the natural world. But the Creator God's role was not merely to fashion life, it was to guide it. Viracocha instilled in his people a deep connection to the earth, a reverence for the forces of nature, and an understanding of the balance that must be maintained between humans and the divine. He was not a distant, indifferent God, but one who walked among his creations, teaching them through his presence, his wisdom, and his actions. The Inca believed that Viracocha was always near, always watching, and always guiding them through the trials of life. However, Viracocha's story is not one of perpetual creation, it is one of cycles, of periods of life and death, of creation and destruction. After he had shaped the world and its people, Viracocha disappeared into the sea. His departure, though shrouded in mystery, was not a sign of abandonment but of transformation. The world, once newly created, would face hardships. The first humans, in their ignorance, had strayed from the path laid out by their divine creator. Viracocha's withdrawal marked a time of darkness and chaos, a period in which the earth was left to find its own way. But Viracocha's return was always promised, and with his return, the world would be reborn. His appearance from the sea, emerging with the light of the sun behind him, would signal a new era of prosperity. The Inca people, ever faithful, believed that Viracocha's spirit lived on in the world around them, in the very mountains that stood as sentinels over the land, in the flowing rivers that provided nourishment, and in the blazing sun that warmed their homes. Viracocha was not a god confined to the distant past, he was a living force, ever present in the cycles of the world. In moments of hardship, the Inca people would turn to their god for guidance, for strength, and for the renewal of their spirit. His teachings, though ancient, remained timeless. The earth was not a place to conquer but a sacred space to be respected, a gift from Viracocha to be cherished and protected. The Andean people saw in Viracocha not just a creator, but a protector, a teacher, and a father figure. His myth was not one that spoke only of origins, but one that spoke to the ongoing nature of life itself. As the people faced challenges, whether it be famine, drought, or war, they turned to Viracocha, knowing that the Creator God who had brought them into existence would provide them with the tools they needed to endure. His name echoed in their prayers, his image adorned their temples, and his wisdom was passed down through generations. In every Inca festival, in every ceremony, Viracocha's presence was felt. The flames of sacred fires mirrored the light he had once created. The offerings of maize and chicha, a fermented drink, were symbols of the life he had breathed into the earth. The Inca people believed that through their devotion, they kept the world in balance, ensuring that Viracocha's divine will continue to shape their lives. And so, the story of Viracocha endures. His myth is not merely a relic of the past, it is a living testament to the sacred bond between the divine and the earthly, between creator and creation. His legacy lives on in the winds that sweep through the Andes, and the snow-capped peaks that watch over the valleys below, and in the hearts of the people who still honor him today. Viracocha, the god who birthed the world, continues to be a symbol of creation, of transformation, and of the eternal connection between all living things. The dense forest echoes with the whispered names of ancient gods, and the deep, untouched earth holds within it the stories of the past, stories that are still alive today. Among these sacred tales, Tane Mahuta, the great forest god of the Maori, stands as one of the most powerful figures in their cosmology. He is not merely a god of trees and wildlife, he is the very embodiment of life, of creation itself, and of the balance between heaven and earth. His name, spoken with reverence, carries the weight of a time when the world was formed, when the sky and the earth were locked in a loving embrace, and when one god was tasked with separating them to give life to everything in between. Tane Mahuta's story begins long before the first breaths of humanity filled the air. In the beginning, the earth and the sky were entwined in an eternal, suffocating closeness. Darkness reigned, and the world was a place of silent stillness. Within this confined space, the first ancestors, the primal gods, lived, trapped in the very same darkness. They could not see each other, nor could they breathe freely. Among them was Tane Mahuta, one of the children of Renjinui, the Sky Father, and Papatuanuku, the Earth Mother. From the very start, Tane was destined for greatness. He was not simply the god of the forest, but the one who would bridge the gap between the earth and the heavens, giving space for life to flourish. It was Tane's great desire to bring light and life into the world that led him to undertake the monumental task of separating his parents, the sky and the earth. The separation was not an easy one. The love between Renjinui and Papatuanuku was so deep, so entwined, that it seemed impossible to break. But Tane, with all the strength of a creator god, knew that for life to exist in its fullest form, something had to change. It was time to give the world room to breathe. With a great heave, Tane pushed against his father, Renjinui, using all the power in his limbs, his back, his very essence. The earth shook, and the heavens groaned, as though the world itself was in mourning for the loss of its unity. But Tane persisted, and after a long struggle, he succeeded in lifting his father into the sky, creating the first vast chasm between the two. This act of creation, the separation of earth and sky, was no simple feat, it was the birthing of space itself. The universe, once stifled and confined, was now free to expand, and life began to take shape in the newly created gap. This separation, however, did not mark the end of Tane's work. With the sky now above and the earth below, Tane turned his attention to the forests that would grow, the creatures that would inhabit the land, and the people who would come to call this world home. Tane Mahuta became the god of the forests, the trees, and all life that took root in the soil. The trees, tall and proud, grew in his care, their branches reaching for the sky he had created. Tane Mahuta's influence spread far and wide, and wherever trees stood, his presence could be felt. Yet Tane was not just a god of creation, he was also a god of nurturing and protection. He loved the forests as a father loves his children. Under his watchful eye, the trees flourished, their roots sinking deep into the earth, their leaves shimmering in the sunlight. Birds built nests in his trees, and animals sought refuge in the shadows of his mighty trunks. Tane's forests were not merely landscapes, they were sacred spaces, filled with life and energy. The Maori people looked to Tane Mahuta as a provider, understanding that the forests were not only a source of beauty but a source of sustenance, a vital connection to the earth itself. But Tane's influence extended beyond the natural world. He was a figure of deep spiritual significance to the Maori people. They believed that Tane Mahuta's forests were places where the divine and the earthly met, where the spirits of ancestors dwelled and where humans could connect with the sacred. The forests were a realm of mystery and power, where every tree, every leaf, and every root had its purpose. Tane was not just a god who created life, he was the guardian of it. Through his forests, the Maori people believed they could find their way to the divine, to the very heart of the universe. One of the most sacred aspects of Tane Mahuta's mythology was his connection to the creation of humanity itself. In some versions of the myth, Tane is the god who formed the first human beings. He molded them from the earth, shaping their bodies from the very soil that he had once separated from the sky. As he breathed life into them, Tane imparted to them a part of himself, a connection to the divine force that had shaped the world. These first humans, born from the earth and blessed by Tane's divine touch, were entrusted with the care of the world he had created. The Maori believed that it was through this sacred connection to Tane that humans could understand their place in the world and their responsibility to protect the earth. Tane's story is also one of sacrifice and humility. In another telling of the myth, Tane Mahuta ventured into the underworld, seeking the sacred greenstone, Pounamu, to gift to his people. The journey was perilous, and Tane had to face many challenges. But his love for his people and his desire to provide them with the tools they needed to thrive drove him onward. His journey to the underworld was not just a physical one, it was a journey of transformation, a reminder that even the gods must sometimes endure hardship for the sake of others. Today, Tane Mahuta's legacy lives on in the towering trees of New Zealand's forests. One such tree, the Tane Mahuta tree in the Waipua forest, stands as a living testament to the god himself. At over 50 meters tall, this ancient kauri tree is named in honor of the great forest god, and it is believed to be a direct link to Tane's spirit. Visitors to the forest often speak of feeling a sense of awe and reverence in the presence of the mighty tree, a reminder of the divine power that created the world and the life within it. Tane Mahuta's myth is not just a story from the past, it is a living part of the Maori worldview. He is the god who created the world we see, the forests we walk through, and the life we cherish. His legacy is a reminder that the earth is sacred, that the sky is vast, and that the balance between them is fragile. In Tane Mahuta's myth, there is a message of unity, of the need to care for the earth, and of the divine connection that binds all living things together. His story continues to inspire, to teach, and to remind the Maori people and the world that creation is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process, one that requires respect, reverence, and love. In the heart of the Pacific Ocean, where the stars shine brighter and the waves dance with ancient rhythm, there exists a god whose name echoes across the islands of Polynesia, Tagaloa. The creator of all things, Tagaloa's story is not just one of origin, but of purpose, creation, and the endless cycle that binds the heavens, the earth, and everything between. His presence in Polynesian mythology is profound, shaping the very fabric of the universe itself. Tagaloa is a deity who embodies the vastness of the sea, the mystery of the sky, and the richness of the earth. He is the god of creation and order, holding dominion over both the physical and spiritual realms. His story begins with the world in a state of emptiness, a boundless void where nothing existed except the ever-present ocean. This ocean, in its stillness, was as dark as the night sky, for it had not yet known the touch of light or the pulse of life. But within that silence, a stirring began, a spark of creation. Tagaloa, with his divine will, saw the need for change. The sea that had cradled the world in its depths was to be shaped, and the heavens were to be filled with light. Tagaloa, powerful yet gentle, wove the elements into existence. From the oceans, he pulled up the land, crafting the islands that would become the homes of the Polynesian people. With his mighty hands, he shaped the mountains, the valleys, and the rivers, creating the landforms that would stand tall against the sea, forever intertwined in a delicate balance. But Tagaloa's creation was not only physical. In the beginning, there was no light, only darkness. The god saw that life could not flourish without the sun, so he created the celestial bodies, each one holding its own purpose. The moon, the stars, and the sun were all brought into being, their movements dictated by Tagaloa's divine will. There were the markers of time, the guardians of seasons, and the watchful eyes in the sky that guided the Polynesians on their long voyages across the vast ocean. In many versions of the myth, Tagaloa's creation of the islands was not just a physical act, but also a spiritual one. He breathed life into the land, filling it with the spirit of mana, the sacred force that flows through everything. The forests, the rivers, the mountains, all of these were not just made of rock and earth, they were imbued with a divine energy that connected them to the gods and to the people. The islands were not simply places to live, they were sacred, living entities that had a spirit all their own. Yet, as much as Tagaloa shaped the physical world, his role as a creator did not end with the land and the heavens. The people of Polynesia were also a product of his divine will. In some versions of the myth, Tagaloa is credited with creating the first humans. These early ancestors were formed from the earth itself, molded by the god's hands and given life by his breath. Tagaloa's connection to humanity was deep and profound, as he not only created the land and sky but also shaped the people who would walk upon it. They were his children, and his care for them was ever present, just as his influence continued to flow through the land, the sea, and the skies. The relationship between Tagaloa and the Polynesian people is one of respect, reverence, and balance. The people understood that their existence was a gift from Tagaloa, and their survival depended on maintaining harmony with the land and the sea. The ocean, which Tagaloa had once called home, was not just a source of sustenance, it was a sacred realm, one that required respect and understanding. The tides, the winds, and the stars were all part of Tagaloa's creation, and they guided the Polynesians on their voyages, helping them navigate the vast and seemingly endless ocean. In Tagaloa's myth, there is also an element of responsibility. The Polynesian people were not simply meant to take from the earth and the sea, they were entrusted with the task of stewardship. They were meant to live in harmony with the world Tagaloa had created, respecting the land, the sea, and the divine forces that flowed through them. The islands were sacred, and their people were charged with keeping them sacred, ensuring that the balance of creation was never disturbed. The Polynesian belief in Tagaloa's creation story is reflected in their deep connection to the natural world. For the Polynesians, creation was not a distant, one-time event. It was a living, breathing process that continued to unfold. Tagaloa's influence was felt in every wave that kissed the shore, and every tree that swayed in the wind, and in every star that lit the night sky. His creation was not just a beginning, it was a constant reminder of the divine presence that surrounded them. Today, Tagaloa's legacy lives on in the hearts of the Polynesian people. His creation myth is more than just a story, it is a guiding principle for living in harmony with the earth. The islands of Polynesia, with their lush landscapes and vast oceans, are a testament to the God who shaped them. The people of Polynesia continue to honor Tagaloa through their rituals, their prayers, and their respect for the natural world. They know that the sea, the land, and the sky are not just resources to be used, but gifts to be cherished. Tagaloa's story, like the ocean itself, is vast and unending. It is a story of creation, of life, and of the deep connection between the gods and the people. His name is carried on the winds, whispered across the waves, and etched into the hearts of those who walk upon the islands he created. The world he made is a place of beauty, of mystery, and of sacred balance, a world that continues to live and breathe with the power of the divine. Tagaloa, the Polynesian creator god, remains a timeless figure, his influence stretching across the islands, the ocean, and the generations that follow. Creation myths have long been a cornerstone of human culture, offering symbolic explanations for how the world came into existence. Across cultures, these myths present stories of divine beings, cosmic battles, and primordial elements bringing order to chaos. But as scientific understanding has advanced, certain parallels between these ancient myths and modern theories of creation have emerged, highlighting how humanity has tried to make sense of the universe, its origins, and the forces at work within it. The most notable parallel lies in the idea of the universe emerging from chaos or a void. In creation myths from cultures all over the world, the universe begins as a formless, dark void. In these stories, divine beings or forces bring order from this primordial chaos, shaping the world and all that exists. This concept can be compared to the Big Bang Theory in modern science. According to the Big Bang Theory, the universe began as an infinitely small, hot, and dense point known as a singularity. Around 13.8 billion years ago, this singularity expanded rapidly, causing the universe to form from this previously chaotic state into the structured cosmos we know today. Just as creation myths describe a divine force shaping the world from nothingness, the Big Bang suggests that the universe's birth involved the transformation of a chaotic state into something structured and full of potential. The imagery of cosmic battles or the actions of creator gods and myths often mirrors the scientific processes that led to the formation of galaxies, stars, and planets. In many cultures, gods are said to battle or struggle against the forces of chaos, sometimes slaying great monsters or defeating cosmic enemies to bring order to the world. This notion of conflict and transformation can be loosely connected to the formation of stars and galaxies in the universe. The intense forces at work within nebulae, the clouds of gas and dust that give birth to stars, can be seen as a cosmic battle between gravity, pressure, and radiation. In this way, creation myths' battles between gods and chaos may serve as metaphors for the cosmic forces that govern the birth of stars and the evolution of galaxies. One of the most iconic examples of scientific parallels to creation myths is found in the development of life. Many creation myths feature gods or divine beings who shape humans from clay, dust, or some other element, often breathing life into them. This idea bears striking resemblance to the scientific theory of abiogenesis, which seeks to explain how life originated from non-living matter on Earth. According to this theory, life began with simple organic compounds that, over millions of years, combined in complex ways to form the first living organisms. The imagery of divine beings breathing life into human forms mirrors the scientific view of life as a complex, natural process that began from simple components but was imbued with the spark of life over time. Creation myths often describe the world being formed from a primeval substance, such as water, clay, or chaos, and this too has scientific parallels. In the early stages of Earth's formation, water played a critical role in shaping the planet. Scientists believed that the Earth's oceans, composed primarily of water, were crucial to the development of life. Some theories suggest that water acted as a solvent, allowing molecules to interact and form the complex compounds necessary for life. The idea of water as a fundamental building block in both scientific and mythological creation stories underscores its importance in our understanding of the world's origins. Additionally, the idea of cyclical creation and destruction found in many myths has a scientific counterpart in the natural processes of the universe. Many cultures have myths that describe creation, followed by destruction, and the eventual recreation of the world. This cycle of death and rebirth is often embodied by gods who repeatedly shape the world, only for it to fall into chaos once more, before another cycle begins. In science, the concept of cycles is evident in everything from the life cycles of stars to the constant recycling of elements in nature. Stars are born, live out their life cycles, and eventually die, creating new elements and possibly giving birth to new stars. Similarly, in ecology, the processes of decay, death, and rebirth are seen in the natural cycles that sustain life on Earth, from plant growth to the decomposition of organic matter. This cyclical nature of creation and destruction highlights a deep resonance between ancient myths and the natural processes observed in the world around us. Some creation myths even anticipate modern scientific discoveries, particularly in the area of quantum physics and the concept of parallel realities or multiverses. In some traditions, creation is not a singular event but a process involving multiple realms or dimensions, where gods or cosmic beings manipulate the forces of existence to shape multiple worlds. This concept can be loosely connected to modern theories of quantum physics, where scientists have posited the existence of multiple parallel universes, each with its own version of reality, possibly governed by different laws of physics. While these theories are still being explored in the scientific community, they share similarities with the ancient myths of multiple, interwoven worlds, all part of a greater cosmic order. Creation myths and scientific theories both grapple with the profound question of how the universe came to be. While myths tend to explain creation in terms of divine forces, anthropomorphic gods, and cosmic battles, science relies on observable evidence and theories about natural processes. Yet, both share a common drive to make sense of our origins and the forces at play in the universe. They offer different but complementary ways of understanding our place in the cosmos, and in many ways, the language of myth still holds power, even in the age of science. Creation myths have captivated humanity for centuries, influencing literature and media across cultures and time periods. These ancient stories of how the world came into being have inspired a wide range of literary works, films, television shows, and other forms of media. In many ways, these myths serve as a foundational aspect of storytelling, offering a template for understanding the origins of the universe, humanity, and the divine. As literature and media have evolved, so too have the interpretations and adaptations of creation myths, revealing new layers of meaning while preserving their timeless appeal. In literature, creation myths often serve as the backdrop for exploring themes of identity, existence, and purpose. For instance, in the epic poem The Iliad, Homer does not merely recount the exploits of the Greek and Trojan heroes, but also touches upon the broader question of creation and divine will. The Greek gods, in particular, play a central role in the events of the Trojan War, often intervening in mortal affairs to influence the course of history. These divine beings are depicted as powerful and unpredictable, with their actions reflecting the ancient Greek understanding of the universe as shaped by both order and chaos. The influence of creation myths can also be seen in more contemporary literature. Authors like J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, and Madeleine L'Engle have drawn upon mythological themes to craft their own fantastical worlds. In Tolkien's The Silmarillion, for example, the creation myth of Middle-earth is revealed through the story of Eru Ilúvatar, a godlike figure who creates the world and its inhabitants through music. This myth is heavily inspired by various creation stories, blending elements of Christian theology, Norse mythology, and other traditions to form a unique cosmology. Similarly, in C.S. Lewis' The Chronicles of Narnia, the creation of the world is depicted through the Song of Aslan, a lion who embodies both the creator and the savior of Narnia. These examples demonstrate how creation myths in literature not only shape the setting of a story but also provide a deeper understanding of the characters' relationships with the divine and the world they inhabit. The impact of creation myths on literature is not limited to fantasy or epic tales. The themes of creation and destruction also appear in works of literary fiction that examine the human condition. In Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, for instance, the story of Dr. Victor Frankenstein's creation of a living being can be seen as a modern twist on the idea of divine creation. The creature he creates, like Adam in the Bible, is abandoned by his creator and forced to find his own place in the world. Shelley's novel grapples with the moral implications of creation and the responsibilities that come with it, echoing the ethical dilemmas present in many creation myths where the creator is held accountable for the fate of their creations. In the world of film and television, creation myths continue to influence the narratives of popular media. Films like The Matrix, Prometheus, and Avatar explore themes of artificial creation, the origins of life, and the relationships between creators and their creations. In The Matrix, the protagonist Neo learns that his reality is a simulated world created by machines, raising questions about free will, purpose, and the nature of existence. The film's premise can be seen as a modern reimagining of the creation myth, with the machines serving as creators who control the fate of humanity. Similarly, Prometheus delves into the origins of humanity itself, suggesting that our creators are an advanced race of extraterrestrial beings who are responsible for our existence. The film's exploration of creation myths, and the moral dilemmas that come with it resonates with the themes found in ancient stories, where gods and creators are often seen as both benevolent and capricious. Television series like Game of Thrones and American Gods also draw upon creation myths to shape their respective narratives. In Game of Thrones, the world is shaped by a series of gods and ancient beings who influence the fates of its characters. The Lord of Light, the old gods of the forest, and the many-faced god all play a part in the characters' quests for power, knowledge, and survival. These gods are tied to the very fabric of the world, much like the divine forces in creation myths, and their actions often drive the plot forward. In American Gods, Neil Gaiman reimagines the role of ancient gods in the modern world, exploring how old creation myths and deities continue to influence the lives of humans in contemporary society. The clash between the old gods and the new gods, symbols of modernity, technology, and media, mirrors the tension between traditional creation myths and the changing landscapes of belief in the 21st century. Creation myths also have a significant influence on the genre of science fiction, where they are often used as a way to explore questions about the origins of life, artificial intelligence, and the ethical boundaries of scientific experimentation. The themes of creation and the creator are central to many works of science fiction, as writers use these myths to examine the potential consequences of humanity's pursuit of godlike power. In works like Blade Runner, Westworld, and I, Robot, the creation of artificial beings raises questions about the nature of consciousness, identity, and what it means to be human. These stories echo the themes of creation myths, where creators are forced to confront the consequences of their actions and the responsibilities they bear for their creations. Even in the realm of video games, creation myths have found a place in the narrative structures of many popular franchises. In games like God of War, The Elder Scrolls, and Final Fantasy, players take on the role of characters who interact with gods, creators, and cosmic forces that shape the world. These games often explore the relationships between creators and their creations, with players making choices that affect the fate of the world. The interplay between divine forces and human characters in these games mirrors the dynamics found in creation myths, where the gods' actions determine the course of history. The enduring influence of creation myths in literature and media speaks to their power as universal stories that resonate with people across cultures and time periods. Whether in the form of ancient texts, modern novels, blockbuster films, or video games, creation myths continue to shape the stories we tell about ourselves and the world around us. They offer a lens through which we can explore our deepest questions about existence, identity, and the nature of creation itself. Through the lens of literature and media, creation myths remain a source of inspiration and reflection, inviting us to consider our place in the cosmos and the forces that brought us into being. Ometeotl is one of the most significant and profound deities in Aztec mythology, embodying the duality that permeates the entire Aztec cosmology. Unlike many other gods, Ometeotl represents a perfect balance, a union of complementary forces, often symbolizing the intertwined nature of creation and destruction, life and death, masculine and feminine. The deity is unique in Aztec belief systems because of this dual nature, which manifests in both the form of male and female energies, yet also transcends them to an encompassing unity. Ometeotl is not merely a single god, but is seen as both the source and the embodiment of all divine forces. In the context of Aztec culture, where duality is a recurring theme in both the natural world and spiritual beliefs, Ometeotl holds a position of immense importance. Ometeotl is the god of the primal forces of creation, but also the god of balance, harmony, and the complementary energies of existence. He is the origin of the world itself, from which all other gods and life forms spring. His influence is found in the creation myth, where the Aztec gods recognized the necessity of duality to bring the world into existence. This concept is reflected in Ometeotl's role as the god who gives birth to the sun and the moon, two distinct but interdependent entities, each fulfilling its own vital function in the universe. One of the most fascinating aspects of Ometeotl's nature is the way in which he represents the duality of the universe. In Aztec thought, everything in the cosmos exists through a dynamic tension of opposites, night and day, life and death, good and evil, male and female. Ometeotl exemplifies this dual nature through his own being, both a father and mother figure, a symbol of balance in the vast chaos of creation. In many ways, Ometeotl is both a beginning and an end, as he embodies the never-ending cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The duality of Ometeotl also emphasizes the importance of balance in the lives of the Aztecs. To honor Ometeotl was to understand that life was a constant ebb and flow of opposites, a cycle of constant change that required acceptance and respect for all forces, both light and dark. This concept extends beyond the world of the gods, influencing the way Aztecs viewed their own lives and responsibilities in society. The Aztec people believed that everything they did, whether it was agriculture, war, or religious rituals, was an act of balance, designed to appease the gods and ensure the continued stability of the world. Ometeotl's place in the pantheon of Aztec gods is particularly interesting because, while duality and balance are key aspects of the religion, Ometeotl is not seen as a god who rules over these forces directly. Instead, Ometeotl is often depicted as the god of origin, whose power is split between the many gods that came from him. Ometeotl is often said to be the parent of the four Tezcatlipoques, the powerful deities who are each responsible for a different aspect of the cosmos: Tezcatlipoca of the north, Quetzalcoatl of the west, Huitzilopochtli of the south, and Xic-Totec of the east. Each of these deities carries a piece of Ometeotl's essence and thus embodies the tension between creation and destruction, life and death, light and dark. These gods are the agents through whom Ometeotl's influence is felt in the world. The relationship between Ometeotl and these gods speaks to the Aztecs' belief in a complex, interconnected universe where all things were linked by a fundamental force. For the Aztecs, creation was not a singular event but an ongoing process, one that was continually shaped by the forces of duality and balance. The cyclical nature of life was seen in everything, from the rotation of the planets to the daily movements of the sun and moon, and it was this continuous cycle that Ometeotl personified. Yet, Ometeotl is not only a god of harmony but also one of great power and mystery. The Aztecs understood that balance could be fragile, and the gods could just as easily bring destruction as they could create life. Ometeotl's influence, therefore, was not merely a gentle, benevolent force but one that required respect and reverence, for the god's ability to create or destroy was bound by the very nature of duality. In Aztec art and iconography, Ometeotl is often depicted as a manifestation of the balance between two opposing forces. This might be shown through symbols of the sun and the moon, the two primary celestial bodies that represented the forces of day and night. The duality is also reflected in the creation stories, where the sun and moon are often portrayed as companions, each with its own domain but both inextricably linked to one another. Ometeotl's influence is thus not just present in myth, but in every aspect of Aztec life, from the celestial movements that governed time to the social structure that emphasized balance between different groups. In modern times, the story of Ometeotl and the Aztec understanding of creation have continued to influence contemporary interpretations of spirituality and the natural world. The duality embodied by Ometeotl resonates with modern-day conversations about the balance between science and religion, the masculine and feminine, and the forces of destruction and renewal that shape our existence. Ometeotl's myth, with its focus on the interdependence of opposing forces, offers a powerful reminder of the need for balance in our own lives and in our relationship to the world around us. As the Aztecs believed, Ometeotl is not a god who is ever truly separate from the world. He is both a creator and a destroyer, a parent and a child, a force that is present in every aspect of the universe. His story is a profound reminder of the fundamental interconnectedness of all things, a reminder that creation is not simply an event, but a continuous process that requires us to embrace and honor the forces of balance that shape the world. Ometeotl's myth, with its powerful imagery of duality, continues to speak to the depths of human experience, offering both wisdom and warning in equal measure. Sedna is not just a goddess, she is a powerful force of nature, embodying the wild, untamed spirit of the sea. To the Inuit, her myth is as vast and deep as the ocean itself, a reminder of the fierce, unpredictable forces of nature and the connection between humanity and the earth. In the cold, harsh Arctic landscapes, where survival often depends on the sea's fickle mood, Sedna reigns supreme, her presence as chilling as it is awe-inspiring. Sedna's story begins with an innocent girl, far removed from the icy winds and bitter cold that would eventually define her. She was once a young woman, full of joy, innocence, and beauty, living in a remote village. Her father, a powerful man, arranged her marriage to a man she did not love. The marriage was nothing but a business transaction for her father, who hoped it would bring him riches and security. But Sedna, unwilling to submit to a life that did not feel her own, rejected her suitor, yearning for something more than an arranged marriage. This act of defiance would set in motion a sequence of events that would shape her fate and the fate of those who lived on the edge of the sea. The man her father had chosen for her turned out to be a creature of the sea, a being of the deep, disguised as a human. When Sedna rejected him, he revealed his true nature. He was not a man but a monstrous sea creature, one of many that would soon come to dominate her existence. As retribution for her defiance, he dragged her into the ocean. Her father, in a desperate attempt to save her, took a canoe and tried to rescue her, but the sea was merciless. As the father attempted to flee with Sedna, a fierce storm rose, and in a moment of panic and fear, he threw his daughter into the freezing waters. As she sank into the dark depths, her hair twisted into the swirling currents, and her body became the sea itself. In her grief and pain, Sedna's fingers were severed, each finger giving birth to the creatures of the sea, the seals, the walruses, the whales. From her suffering, life in the ocean was born. Sedna's descent into the ocean's depths is not just the fall of a young woman, it is the beginning of a new order. As Sedna sank deeper into the sea, she transformed into the goddess of the ocean, taking dominion over all that lived beneath the waves. But her transformation was not just physical, it was spiritual. Sedna became a part of the sea itself, her body entwined with the ocean's currents. Her suffering gave birth to life, yet the pain she endured is also the very force that keeps the ocean in constant flux. She is both creator and destroyer, a reminder that all life is born from struggle and sacrifice. But Sedna is not a passive goddess. She is one who controls the tides and the animals of the sea, holding dominion over the creatures that dwell beneath the waves. Her power is both feared and respected, for those who seek to hunt the sea creatures must first appease Sedna. It is said that the spirits of the sea will not reveal themselves to hunters unless Sedna's favor is granted. Those who disrespect her or fail to offer the proper tributes are punished by the ocean, their boats destroyed, their hunts thwarted. Some say that Sedna takes the souls of those who anger her, dragging them into the depths of the sea, where they are lost forever. Her story is both a warning and a reminder. The Inuit see the sea not just as a source of food, but as a realm that must be respected, a realm that is governed by forces beyond human comprehension. Sedna's myth, in many ways, is a reflection of the harsh, unforgiving world in which the Inuit live. The sea is a place of sustenance, but it is also a place of death. Sedna's power is both a gift and a curse. She gives life to the creatures of the sea, but she also takes life when angered. To live in harmony with the sea, one must acknowledge the forces of nature and live in balance with them. This is Sedna's lesson. But Sedna's myth also holds a deeper, more personal meaning. It is a story of betrayal and loss, of transformation through suffering. Sedna was cast into the depths by her father, the very person who should have protected her. She was abandoned, left to survive in the cold, dark world of the ocean. Yet, from this pain, she emerged as a goddess, powerful and eternal. Her story is a reflection of resilience, the ability to endure hardship and emerge stronger. It is a story that speaks to anyone who has suffered loss, who has faced betrayal, and who has found the strength to rise again. Sedna's transformation into the goddess of the sea is a testament to the power of pain and the way in which suffering can give birth to something greater. Sedna's role as the guardian of the ocean is not just a divine duty, it is a profound reflection of the Inuit worldview, one that recognizes the interconnectedness of all things. The ocean is not separate from human life, it is a part of it, and the creatures that dwell within it are as vital to human existence as the people themselves. The balance between humanity and the sea is delicate, and Sedna is the keeper of that balance. Without her favor, life in the Arctic would be impossible. But with her protection, the sea becomes a source of life, an endless cycle of creation and destruction. In the harsh, unforgiving Arctic world, Sedna is a symbol of both the danger and the beauty of nature. Her story speaks to the fragile relationship between humanity and the natural world, a relationship built on respect, understanding, and the acceptance of nature's raw, untamed power. Sedna's myth, with its themes of loss, transformation, and survival, is a timeless tale that speaks to the deepest parts of the human spirit. It is a story of endurance, of rising from the depths of despair to become something greater. And in the end, Sedna's power over the ocean reminds us all of the indomitable force of nature, a force that cannot be tamed, but must be respected and revered. In the heart of the Yoruba belief system, where divinity and humanity are intertwined in a delicate balance, Olorin stands as the supreme god, the eternal creator of the universe. His name evokes a sense of awe and reverence, for Olorin is not just a god, he is the embodiment of the sun, light, and the force that breathes life into all existence. He is the origin of all that is, the source of everything seen and unseen, and his very essence transcends the boundaries of time and space. Olorin is not simply a distant, impersonal deity, he is the ultimate father figure, the one whose presence pulses at the heart of creation itself. It is said that in the beginning, when nothing existed but the endless expanse of the void, Olorin brought light into the world. From his radiant essence, the sun was born, casting warmth and illumination upon the dark nothingness. With the birth of light came the birth of life, for without Olorin, there would be no world, no earth, no sky. His light is not just a physical phenomenon, it is a symbol of divine wisdom, clarity, and truth, shedding light on the unknown and guiding the paths of all living beings. Olorin's creation story is not like those of other gods who fashioned the world out of chaos or conflict. Instead, Olorin's act of creation is peaceful, harmonious, and deliberate. In the Yoruba tradition, the universe is seen as a well-ordered system, a sacred equilibrium established by Olorin's will. There is no primal battle for dominance, there is no need for violence or destruction. Instead, Olorin's creative force flows gently and steadily, weaving together the fabric of reality itself. But what makes Olorin's creation particularly profound is his deep connection to the world he created. He does not create from afar, standing as a mere observer in a distant celestial realm. Instead, he is present in every aspect of life, in every living thing. His light permeates the earth, the sky, the seas, and the hearts of humanity. The Yoruba believe that Olorin is in everything. He is the breath in our lungs, the beat of our hearts, and the spark of life that drives all creatures. His presence is felt in the sun's warmth, in the rain that nurtures the land, and in the love that binds people together. Olorin is not just the creator of the world, he is the soul of the world. Despite being the supreme creator, Olorin does not act alone. He is part of a divine hierarchy, surrounded by powerful beings who help maintain the order of the universe. Among these beings are the Orisha, powerful deities who serve as intermediaries between Olorin and the world. Each Orisha has its own domain, some govern the forces of nature, while others oversee aspects of human life, like love, war, or wisdom. Olorin is the father of the Orisha, and it is through them that he communicates with the world. The Orisha are his messengers, the ones who carry out his will and guide humanity along the path of righteousness. Yet, while Olorin is the supreme god, he is not distant or unreachable. In the Yoruba belief system, there is a deep sense of relationship between the gods and humanity. Olorin's creation is not a one-time event that occurred at the dawn of time, but an ongoing, ever-evolving process. The Yoruba believe that the divine energy that Olorin infused into the world is present in every moment of life. Every action, every decision, every thought is an opportunity for individuals to connect with Olorin and to live in accordance with his divine will. To the Yoruba, Olorin is not a god to be feared in the way that other gods may be. While his power is vast and boundless, he is also a god of love, compassion, and justice. His relationship with humanity is one of deep care and concern. Olorin desires that his creation flourish, that life on earth be harmonious and full of joy. He offers his wisdom and guidance to those who seek it, and through the Orisha, he provides protection and blessings. The Yoruba believe that Olorin's ultimate purpose is not to dominate or control, but to nurture and sustain the world he created. His love is the force that keeps everything in balance, the quiet current that flows beneath the surface of life, ensuring that all things remain as they should. However, the story of Olorin is not just one of creation, it is also one of transformation. The Yoruba believe that creation is not a finished act, but an ongoing process, one that involves growth, change, and evolution. Olorin's creation is not static, but dynamic. He continues to shape and reshape the world, guiding humanity through cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. This cyclical nature of creation is central to the Yoruba worldview, and it speaks to a fundamental truth: the universe is always in flux, always moving toward greater harmony. Olorin's influence extends far beyond the earthly realm. He is the ultimate source of life, and his presence can be felt in the celestial spheres. The sun itself is often seen as a symbol of Olorin's power, a fiery ball of energy that sustains all life on earth. But Olorin is not confined to the sun. His light shines through the stars, through the moon, and through the very fabric of the cosmos. His presence is everywhere, from the smallest grain of sand to the farthest reaches of the universe. In the Yoruba cosmology, the concept of destiny plays a crucial role. Olorin is the one who sets the course of the universe, but it is the Orisha, and ultimately humanity, who must walk the path that he has laid out. Each person is believed to have a unique destiny, a purpose that is woven into the fabric of the universe. To fulfill that destiny, one must live in alignment with Olorin's will, seeking balance, harmony, and wisdom in all things. It is through this alignment with the divine will that individuals find fulfillment, peace, and success. But the most powerful aspect of Olorin's creation is the understanding that everything is connected. The Yoruba believe that all of existence is interconnected in a vast web of divine energy, and that Olorin is the thread that holds it all together. Each person, each creature, each plant, and each element of nature is a part of this grand design, and all are essential to the harmony of the whole. The Yoruba believe that living in accordance with Olorin's will is not just a personal matter, but a responsibility to the entire world. Olorin's story is not just the story of a god, it is the story of life itself, a story of creation, balance, and transformation. His divine light is the source of all life, the foundation of all existence, and the force that sustains the universe. In his presence, all things are possible, and through his guidance, humanity can find its true purpose. Olorin is not just the creator. He is the living, breathing force of the world, the love that binds all things together, and the light that illuminates the way for all to follow. Damballah, the great serpent deity, holds an unparalleled position in Haitian Vodou, a belief system born from the crucible of African traditions, colonial oppression, and the resilience of enslaved peoples. In the undulating coils of Damballah, creation finds its form, life begins its flow, and harmony finds its rhythm. He is not just a god, he is the living essence of purity, wisdom, and the unbreakable continuity of existence. Legends say that when the world was still formless and void, Damballah descended from the heavens, his serpentine body gliding through the primordial waters. Each twist of his immense form shaped the earth, carving rivers and mountains, crafting valleys and plains. As he moved, he exhaled life itself, infusing the barren world with vitality. From the sacred waters beneath his scales sprang the very essence of life. In his presence, creation was not an act of chaos, but an elegant dance, a divine choreography of grace and balance. Damballah's role as creator is rooted in his connection to both the heavens and the earth. He is often envisioned as a great white serpent, shimmering with ethereal light, his form stretching across the sky like a celestial river. His movements are deliberate, his gaze calm, embodying the infinite patience of a being who understands that creation is not a fleeting moment but an eternal process. He carries no weapons, no tools, only the sheer force of his divine nature, a symbol of purity untarnished by conflict or strife. Yet, Damballah is not merely a distant creator, aloof from the world he shaped. In Vodou ceremonies, he is summoned as a source of wisdom, healing, and protection. The devout honor him with offerings of white foods, eggs, milk, and rice, symbols of his purity and spiritual essence. When he descends upon a devotee, it is said that they take on his serpentine movements, swaying and undulating as if embodying his presence. In these moments, he does not speak but communicates through the language of the soul, through gestures, emotions, and an overwhelming sense of peace. Damballah's serenity, however, is not a sign of detachment. His love for humanity and the world is profound. In Vodou mythology, his counterpart, Ayadowedo, the rainbow serpent, complements him as his divine partner. Together, they symbolize unity, balance, and the duality of creation, masculine and feminine, sky and earth, spirit and matter. Their union ensures the continued harmony of the universe, a reminder that creation is not a solitary act, but a collective, interconnected endeavor. In the lives of Vodou practitioners, Damballah represents the highest ideals of purity and wisdom. He is the bridge between the mortal and the divine, the visible and the invisible. His presence reminds humanity of its origins in the sacred waters of creation and its responsibility to live in harmony with the world. Through Damballah, the serpent creator, the interconnectedness of all life becomes a lived experience, a truth that resonates in every ritual, every prayer, every moment of reflection. Yet, Damballah's significance transcends his mythological role. He is also a symbol of survival and resistance. Haitian Vodou itself emerged from the blending of African spiritual practices brought by enslaved peoples and the brutal realities of colonial rule. Under the watchful gaze of plantation overseers, African deities like Damballah were hidden beneath the guise of Catholic saints. For Damballah, the image of Saint Patrick, depicted with serpents at his feet, served as a mask for his enduring presence. In this syncretism, Vodou practitioners preserved their faith, their culture, and their connection to a divine lineage that refused to be erased. This fusion of African and colonial influences is not a story of loss, but one of resilience and creativity. Through Damballah, enslaved Africans found a way to reclaim their identity and assert their humanity in a world that sought to strip them of both. His calm, patient demeanor became a source of strength, his flowing movements a reminder that even in the harshest conditions, life finds a way to endure and flourish. Damballah's myth also carries profound ecological wisdom. As the serpent god who shaped the rivers and brought life to the earth, he embodies humanity's sacred relationship with nature. His fluid, cyclical energy mirrors the rhythms of the natural world, the flow of water, the cycles of the seasons, the pulse of life itself. To honor Damballah is to honor the earth, to recognize the sanctity of all living things, and to commit to preserving the delicate balance of creation. In Haitian Vodou, the world is not static, it is alive, ever-changing, and infused with the energy of the Loa, the spirits. Damballah's presence is a constant amidst this dynamic interplay, a reminder that the foundation of life is rooted in stillness, wisdom, and harmony. He invites his followers not to conquer the world, but to flow with it, to embrace its rhythms, and to find their place within its vast, intricate design. The story of Damballah is not confined to the rituals and myths of Vodou, it echoes in the hearts of those who seek solace in the quiet power of creation. His coiled form represents the infinite possibilities of life, the unity of beginnings and endings, and the sacred bond between creator and creation. Through Damballah, the serpent who birthed the world, humanity is reminded of its origins in the divine, its connection to the earth, and its role in the ongoing act of creation. Beneath the vast expanse of the Stone Age sky, where life was shaped by the rhythms of nature, humanity sought meaning in the mysteries surrounding them. The earth pulsed with vitality, her soil rich with promise, her seasons shifting in a delicate dance of life and renewal. To early humans, the earth was not inert or passive, it was alive, a divine entity breathing life into the world. It was from this reverence for nature's power and abundance that the earliest whispers of creation deities emerged, tied deeply to fertility and earth worship. The Stone Age, spanning tens of thousands of years, was a time of survival, innovation, and spiritual awakening. Communities lived closely connected to the land, their lives dictated by the hunt, the harvest, and the cycles of the moon and sun. The earth's bounty seemed miraculous, its gifts boundless yet unpredictable. This awe-inspiring relationship with nature gave birth to some of the first ideas about creation, the earth as a fertile mother, her womb the source of all life. In scattered caves and open plains, Stone Age peoples left behind traces of their reverence. Fertility figurines, such as the famed Venus of Willendorf, stand as testament to their beliefs. With exaggerated curves symbolizing nourishment and reproduction, these statues weren't merely artistic expressions, they were spiritual objects, embodiments of the life-giving force. To these early communities, the goddess of fertility wasn't a distant figure in the heavens, but an immediate, tangible presence, the very earth beneath their feet. Imagine their world, a child born against the odds, crops sprouting after rain, animals returning after a long migration. These weren't just natural occurrences, they were divine miracles. Creation wasn't something that happened long ago in some distant past. It was happening now, in the cycle of life and death, and every birth, every sprout, every sunrise. The earth herself was alive, and she was sacred. This divine Earth Mother was not solitary. Stone Age creation myths often paired her with symbols of the sky, rain, or sun, partners who fertilized her soil and brought forth life. The union of earth and sky, of feminine and masculine, was a recurring theme. In their intertwining, the Stone Age people found the essence of creation, balance, and harmony. Fertility, in their eyes, wasn't confined to reproduction. It was the pulse of existence itself, an unending flow of energy that sustained all life. The rituals that arose from these beliefs were both practical and profoundly spiritual. Offerings were made to ensure bountiful hunts and harvests, dances performed to mimic the rhythms of nature, and sacred sites established where the earth's power was thought to concentrate. Megalithic structures like stone circles or burial mounds may have served as temples to these early deities, aligning with celestial patterns that underscored their reverence for the cosmic order. To stand within such a site, even today, is to feel the echoes of a time when humanity's bond with creation was raw and unbroken. Yet, these beliefs were not without their shadows. The earth could be nurturing, but she could also be harsh and unyielding. Storms, droughts, and famines reminded early peoples of nature's duality. Creation and destruction were two sides of the same coin, a lesson etched into the very fabric of Stone Age life. To worship the earth was to accept her cycles in their entirety, her generosity and her wrath, her beauty and her terror. These early creation myths weren't merely explanations of the world, they were guides for living within it. The stories passed down, whether through symbols carved in rock or tales shared by the fire, emphasized respect for the earth's gifts and an understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. The fertility goddess wasn't just a symbol of creation but a reminder of humanity's dependence on and responsibility toward the natural world. Even as the Stone Age gave way to the agricultural revolution, the echoes of these ancient beliefs persisted. Later civilizations would build on these foundations, giving names and faces to their deities, constructing elaborate myths and temples. But at their core, the essence remained the same, a profound reverence for the forces that create and sustain life. The goddess figures of the Stone Age would evolve into the powerful earth deities of later cultures, Isis, Demeter, Gaia, and countless others, all carrying the legacy of humanity's first attempts to understand and honor the mystery of creation. In the quiet moments of reflection, standing in a field under the vast expanse of stars, one can almost feel it still, that primal connection to the earth, that sense of awe at her power and beauty. The Stone Age people didn't just worship their world, they lived within it, attuned to its rhythms, its whispers, its song. And through their reverence, they laid the foundation for all the myths of creation that would follow. Long before temples were built or scriptures written, humanity found divinity in the pulse of the natural world. The rustling of leaves, the rush of rivers, the flicker of fire, these were not mere phenomena, they were alive, powerful, and purposeful. In the ancient minds of early storytellers, these forces were not separate from existence, they were existence, imbued with spirits that shaped the world and its people. This belief, known as animism, is one of the oldest and most profound frameworks of spirituality, a lens through which the birth of creation stories can be understood. In the stillness of a forest, the towering trees were not silent observers. They whispered stories of time, their roots drinking from the earth's veins and their branches stretching toward the sky. The wind that moved through them was a messenger, carrying voices from unseen realms. To early humans, the wind was not a mere breath of air but a spirit, alive, unpredictable, and essential. Its howls during storms spoke of anger, its gentle breezes were whispers of kindness. Rivers, too, held a sacred place in the imagination. Their flowing waters were lifelines, carving paths through the land, providing sustenance, and carrying life wherever they touched. But rivers were also dangerous, capricious in their floods, merciless in their currents. They seemed to embody both the nurturing and destructive forces of creation. To those who lived alongside them, rivers became deities, gods and goddesses with the power to give life and take it away, their currents echoing the rhythms of existence itself. The fire's flickering flames were equally enchanting and terrifying. It could warm the coldest night, cook food, and ward off predators, yet it could also consume forests and destroy homes in a matter of moments. Fire was alive in every sense, hungry, unpredictable, and powerful. It demanded respect, and in return, it offered light and life. To early humans, fire was a divine being, perhaps born from the union of sky and earth, its crackling voice a constant reminder of its dual nature. These natural forces were not separate entities in the eyes of animistic cultures. They were interconnected, a web of spirits weaving through the world, each with a role in the grand tapestry of existence. The earth, wind, fire, and water were more than elements. They were the fabric of life, shaping and sustaining everything. It was inevitable that they would become central to creation stories, their roles reflecting the delicate balance required to bring life into being. In many animistic traditions, the world's creation begins with the awakening of these spirits. They emerge from chaos or slumber, each contributing their essence to form the universe. The wind breathes life into the void, the earth provides a foundation, the waters carve paths of connection, and fire ignites the spark of vitality. Together, these forces transform the formless into the tangible, their interplay reflecting the harmony and struggle inherent in creation. But animism did not only revere the grand forces of nature, it found divinity in the smallest details. A single stone could hold the spirit of the earth, a bird in flight could carry the soul of the wind. The world was not divided into sacred and mundane, everything was sacred. This belief infused everyday life with a sense of wonder and purpose. A hunt was not just a means of survival, it was an act of communion with the animal spirit. Planting a seed was not merely agriculture, it was a pact with the earth's soul. This worldview also gave rise to the personification of natural forces, turning them into deities with personalities, desires, and stories. The river goddess might demand offerings to ensure her waters flowed kindly, while the mountain spirit might guard its peaks with jealousy. These personifications made the abstract tangible, allowing people to form relationships with the forces that governed their lives. Through these relationships, animistic cultures sought harmony, acknowledging their dependence on the natural world and their responsibility to honor it. The beauty of animism lies in its simplicity and depth. It does not separate humanity from nature, instead, it places humanity within it, as one thread in a vast, interconnected web. In animistic creation stories, humans are often born not as conquerors of the world, but as its caretakers, entrusted with the sacred task of maintaining balance. This perspective fosters a profound respect for the environment, a reverence that resonates even today as modern societies grapple with the consequences of losing that connection. As animistic beliefs evolved into more structured religions, their influence remained. The spirits of rivers, trees, and winds became gods and goddesses, their myths expanding into elaborate tales of creation and governance. Yet, at their core, these stories retained the essence of animism, a recognition of the sacred in the world around us. The natural forces that early humans revered continue to echo in creation myths worldwide, their spirits transformed but never forgotten. To stand in the presence of nature's raw power, to feel the thunder's rumble, the river's pull, or the fire's heat, is to glimpse the same awe that inspired those first animistic stories. It is to understand, if only for a moment, why humanity once saw the divine in every stone, every tree, and every gust of wind. The spirits of creation are still with us, whispering their ancient truths, reminding us of a time when the world was alive with stories, and every force carried the essence of the sacred. In the heart of West Africa, among the winding valleys and ancient cliffs, the Dogon people hold a belief so intricately woven into their culture that it stirs wonder and mystery across the world. Mangala, the creator god, lies at the center of Dogon cosmology, an enigmatic force whose power transcends the boundaries of time and space. To the Dogon, creation is not a single moment, but a cosmic rhythm, a dance between the heavens and the earth, and Mangala is the conductor of this divine symphony. The story of Mangala begins in the vast reaches of the sky, where the stars are not just distant points of light but living entities, full of purpose and meaning. Mangala is the god who gave life to the universe, but his creation is not a simple act of shaping the world from clay or molding it from chaos. Instead, it is an ongoing process, one that flows like the sacred waters of the Niger River, never-ending and ever-evolving. The Dogon believe that Mangala's creation is intricately linked with the cosmos, a divine blueprint written in the stars themselves. To understand Mangala, one must look beyond the earthly realm. The Dogon teach that the heavens are a realm of infinite possibilities, a place where the gods dwell and where the very fabric of life is woven. According to their belief, Mangala did not create the world from a void, but rather from an eternal, cyclical pattern that governs the movement of the stars and the planets. The Dogon's intimate knowledge of the stars, passed down through generations of oral tradition, reveals a deep understanding of the cosmos that still baffles modern astronomers. Mangala's influence over the cosmos is both profound and mysterious. He is the god of the stars, the one who set the celestial bodies in motion and who governs the passage of time. His creation is not static, it is dynamic, always unfolding in a continuous cycle. The Dogon's reverence for the stars is so deep that they view them as both divine and human, a bridge between the spiritual and physical realms. In the night sky, Mangala's creation is visible. Each constellation, each star, represents a living being, a god, or an ancestor who has played a role in the ongoing process of creation. But Mangala's power is not confined to the heavens. He is also intimately connected with the earth, where his influence shapes every aspect of life. The Dogon believe that the earth itself is alive, and that Mangala is its heartbeat. Every tree, every river, every mountain is a manifestation of his divine presence. The earth, like the cosmos, is a living, breathing entity, continuously created and recreated by the forces of Mangala. In this view, humanity is not a passive observer of creation, but an active participant in it. The Dogon understand themselves as children of the stars, connected to the cosmos in ways that few modern cultures can fathom. What makes Mangala's story so compelling is the way in which it intertwines the mystical with the physical. The Dogon have a rich tradition of divination, using intricate rituals and symbols to communicate with the gods and seek guidance from the cosmos. These rituals are not mere acts of worship, they are an attempt to align oneself with the rhythms of the universe, to understand one's place in the grand scheme of creation. For the Dogon, every moment is sacred, and every action is a reflection of the divine will. They believe that by understanding the cosmos, by gazing at the stars, listening to the earth, and interpreting the divine messages, they can come closer to Mangala and gain insights into the mysteries of existence. The Dogon's knowledge of the cosmos is so advanced that it has confounded many Western scholars. They possess an understanding of the star Sirius that predates modern astronomy by centuries. The Dogon know that Sirius is a binary star system, with a companion star that is invisible to the naked eye. How could they have known this, so long before telescopes and modern technology? The answer, many believe, lies in the teachings of Mangala. The god is not just a creator of the world, but a teacher, imparting wisdom to the Dogon through the stars and through the rituals that they perform. Mangala's divine presence is felt in the very fabric of the universe, in the movements of the stars, in the rhythms of the earth, and in the hearts of the people. Mangala's power is also felt in the cycles of life and death. The Dogon believe that death is not an end, but a return to the stars. When a person dies, their spirit returns to the heavens, joining the cosmic dance of creation. This cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth is an integral part of the Dogon's understanding of the universe. It is a process that reflects the ongoing creation of the world, a never-ending flow of energy and life that is always in motion. Mangala, as the god who governs this cycle, is both a creator and a destroyer, responsible for both the birth of new life and the return of old life to the stars. In the sacred rituals of the Dogon, Mangala is invoked through songs, dances, and prayers that honor the stars and the earth. These rituals are not simply acts of devotion, but powerful acts of creation in their own right. Through them, the Dogon reaffirm their connection to the cosmos and to the divine. They believe that by participating in these rituals, they are actively contributing to the ongoing process of creation, aligning themselves with Mangala's will and purpose. Mangala's presence is everywhere, within the stars, within the earth, and within the hearts of the Dogon. His creation is not a distant event, but a continuous unfolding, a cosmic dance that is always in motion. The Dogon understand that they are not separate from this creation, but a part of it, woven into the very fabric of the universe. Through their rituals, their understanding of the stars, and their reverence for the earth, they seek to honor Mangala and to understand the deeper mysteries of existence. In this way, Mangala is not just a creator god, but a teacher, guiding the Dogon to an understanding of the cosmos that transcends the limitations of time and space. In the swirling mists of Aztec mythology, creation emerges not from calm order but from a visceral battle against chaos incarnate. Cipactli, the primordial monster, looms large in these tales, a terrifying creature that embodies the primal forces of disorder. This is no gentle origin story, it is raw, violent, and seething with cosmic power. Cipactli is more than a beast, it is the universe's wild heart, a creature whose destruction laid the foundation for existence itself. The Aztecs envisioned Cipactli as a monstrous amalgamation of fish, crocodile, and toad, its jagged body covered with gaping mouths. Each mouth was a portal to endless hunger, a void that consumed everything in its path. Cipactli was not just a creature of the earth, but a manifestation of the untamed forces that existed before time, before structure, before humanity. It lurked in the primordial waters, a chaotic abyss that stretched infinitely, challenging the gods themselves to bring order to the void. The story begins with the gods Tezcatlipoca and Quetzalcoatl, two forces of creation who understood that life could not emerge without subduing Cipactli. Together, they gazed upon the monstrous being, its enormous body roiling in the endless waters. Cipactli's presence was overwhelming, a constant reminder of the chaos that threatened to consume everything. If the gods wished to create the earth, the heavens, and humankind, Cipactli had to be defeated. But the battle would not be easy. Cipactli's many mouths gnawed at the gods' resolve, its insatiable hunger an ever-present threat. Tezcatlipoca, the dark and enigmatic god, hatched a daring plan. He offered his own foot as bait, a sacrifice to draw Cipactli out of the depths. With calculated precision, he plunged into the waters, his divine essence radiating a tantalizing lure for the monstrous being. Cipactli surged from the depths, its countless mouths snapping in frenzied hunger. The sacrifice worked, but at a cost. Tezcatlipoca's foot was torn away in the monster's jaws, a vivid testament to the perilous dance of creation and destruction. The pain was immense, but the loss only fueled the gods' determination. As Cipactli thrashed, the gods seized their moment. Quetzalcoatl joined Tezcatlipoca, their combined might proving greater than the beast's chaotic strength. Together, they subdued Cipactli, tearing its vast body apart. From the monster's flesh and bones, they shaped the world. Its body became the earth, its skin the land, its blood the rivers and seas, and its scales the mountains. Even in death, Cipactli's chaotic essence lingered. The world was born of sacrifice and violence, its foundation steeped in the monster's primal power. Life itself, the Aztecs believed, bore the marks of this cosmic struggle, a constant balance between chaos and order, destruction and creation. The remains of Cipactli held not only the potential for life, but a reminder of its fragility. The Aztecs saw this balance reflected in their daily lives, in the rhythms of nature and the cycles of the sun and moon. They understood that existence was forged in blood and sacrifice, an echo of the gods' battle against the beast. The same principles shaped their rituals and beliefs. Through offerings and sacrifices, they sought to sustain the delicate equilibrium that kept chaos at bay. Cipactli's influence extended beyond creation itself. Its story became a metaphor for resilience and transformation, a reminder that even the most fearsome forces could be harnessed to forge something new. The Aztecs revered the beast not for its destructiveness but for its role in shaping the world. Cipactli's monstrous hunger, its chaotic nature, was not entirely extinguished. It lived on, reminding humanity of the tenuous thread upon which existence hung. Even in the present, the echoes of Cipactli's tale resonate. It is a story of defiance, of facing unimaginable forces with courage and resolve. The gods' victory over Cipactli was not just an act of creation, it was a declaration that order could rise from the abyss, that beauty could emerge from destruction. The earth itself became a living monument to this truth, its rivers, mountains, and plains bearing witness to the divine struggle. Cipactli, the monster whose body shaped the world, remains an enduring symbol of chaos tamed and power transformed. It is a reminder of the cost of creation, of the sacrifices that underpin existence, and of the fierce resilience required to forge something lasting. For the Aztecs, the Earth's beauty was inseparable from its brutal origins, a duality that spoke to the heart of their cosmology and their understanding of life itself. In the rich tapestry of Hawaiian mythology, Kane stands as the divine architect of light and life, a figure revered for his boundless creativity and nurturing essence. His name echoes through the islands, carried by the wind, whispered by the waves, and sung by the forests. Kane is not just a god, he is the essence of vitality, the source from which the world's beauty unfurls. His story begins in the profound stillness of potential, where the void of nothingness yearned for form, light, and breath. Kane existed before existence itself, a radiant presence amidst the unformed chaos. In the primal darkness known as Ptah, he stirred, his spirit infused with the divine will to create. From his essence, he brought forth the heavens and the earth, shaping them with deliberate care, as an artist might carve meaning from raw stone. In Hawaiian lore, Kane's creations were not born from violence or conflict, but from an act of pure love, a profound contrast to the tumultuous origins of other mythologies. Kane's first act was to bring light into the void, a golden dawn that pushed back the suffocating darkness. This light, warm and life-giving, bathed the world in its glow, illuminating the vast canvas he would soon fill with his creations. The islands of Hawaii, with their jagged cliffs, verdant valleys, and shimmering waters, were molded by Kane's hands. Each mountain peak and flowing stream carried his divine signature, a testament to his unparalleled artistry. But Kane's work was not complete. The land, though beautiful, lacked the vitality of life. With a gentle breath, he infused the earth with his spirit, calling forth the lush forests, the swaying palms, and the vibrant flowers. He painted the landscapes with colors that seemed to pulse with life, ensuring that every creation, no matter how small, bore a spark of his divinity. The forests came alive with the hum of insects, the songs of birds, and the whisper of leaves dancing in the wind. Kane's light touched every corner, bringing vitality to the darkest groves and remotest shores. Among his most cherished creations were the humans, who Kane formed from red clay, sculpting their forms with care and breathing his essence into them. These beings were not mere accidents of divine whim but reflections of his spirit. They were given the gift of life, of light, and of connection, to the earth, to the heavens, and to Kane himself. The Hawaiian people believe that their existence is deeply intertwined with Kane's divine energy, a sacred bond that ties them to their creator and their land. Kane's role as a creator was not limited to physical forms, he also gave the gift of water, the life-sustaining force that flows through the veins of the earth. The freshwater springs and streams, known as Wai, were seen as Kane's sacred tears, a reminder of his everlasting presence. These waters, shimmering and pure, nourished the land and its people, ensuring that life could thrive in harmony with the natural world. To this day, water is revered in Hawaiian culture, a sacred element that embodies Kane's gift of sustenance. But Kane was not a solitary figure in the divine narrative. He worked alongside his brothers, Ku and Lono, forming a triad of creation, growth, and balance. While Kane was the bringer of light and life, Ku represented strength and governance, and Lono symbolized peace and fertility. Together, they ensured that the world remained in harmony, each god contributing their unique energy to sustain the fragile balance of existence. Kane's presence is not confined to the past, he lives on in the natural wonders of Hawaii. The rising sun over the Pacific, the rustling of bamboo forests, the glittering streams winding through valleys, all are manifestations of Kane's enduring spirit. His light illuminates not only the physical world but also the spiritual path of the Hawaiian people, guiding them toward a life of harmony, respect, and gratitude for the land and its gifts. To honor Kane, the Hawaiians practice hukupu, or offerings, made with deep reverence. These offerings are given not out of fear but out of love and gratitude, an acknowledgement of the life and light he continues to provide. The chants and dances performed in his name are filled with the echoes of ancient wisdom, a celebration of the divine energy that sustains the islands and their people. Kane's story is one of creation without destruction, of light that nurtures rather than consumes. It speaks to a vision of divinity that is not distant or punitive but present, compassionate, and intimately connected to the world. His essence flows through the land, the water, and the hearts of those who live in harmony with his creations. Kane is not just a creator, he is life itself, a timeless force that illuminates the Hawaiian spirit and its enduring connection to the natural world. In the beginning, there was the egg, a sacred, unbroken shell cradling the potential of everything. Before the heavens were stretched across the void or the earth breathed its first winds, countless cultures envisioned the universe as birthed from this primordial vessel. The cosmic egg is a symbol of beginnings, a story whispered across continents and epochs, a shared human intuition that life itself emerges from an enigmatic, fragile sphere. Imagine this egg, suspended in a formless expanse, its surface smooth and radiant, hiding within it the mysteries of creation. It holds all things, light and dark, chaos and order, time and space, compressed into a singular, silent origin. Across the world, from ancient China to Finland's icy expanses, from India's sacred texts to the mythic landscapes of the Pacific, this egg appears, not bound by culture or geography but woven into the human soul. In Chinese mythology, the cosmic egg is at the heart of the tale of Pangu. Encased within its golden shell, Pangu lay dormant in a womb of chaos, sleeping for eons. As he awoke, his mighty form broke the egg open, and its contents spilled into the universe. The lighter elements rose to form the heavens, while the heavier parts sank to create the earth. Pangu himself became the bridge between them, his body transforming into the mountains, rivers, and forests. His breath became the winds, and his voice echoed in the thunder. The story of Pangu is a hymn to balance, showing how opposites, light and heavy, sky and ground, are bound together in harmony, just as they had been within the egg. In Hindu cosmology, the Hiranyagarbha, or golden womb, holds the seed of existence. Floating in the primordial waters, this luminous egg gave birth to Brahma, the creator god. From within its shining walls, Brahma fashioned the cosmos, drawing from the egg's infinite potential to craft the heavens, the earth, and the vibrant tapestry of life. The cosmic egg in Hindu thought is not just a beginning but a reminder of cycles, creation, preservation, and dissolution, all nestled within its golden shell. The Finnish Kalevala tells of a duck laying her eggs upon the knee of the celestial maiden Ilmatar as she floated on the vast primordial sea. When the eggs fell, they cracked, and their fragments gave rise to the world, the yolk forming the sun, the white becoming the moon, and the specks of shell transforming into stars. The story paints creation as a moment of serendipitous beauty, where chaos turns into order, guided by unseen hands and the fragile miracle of life itself. In Polynesian traditions, the world was born from a cosmic egg cracked open by the gods, releasing the skies and the seas, the land and the life that would inhabit it. The egg symbolizes potential and the delicate balance required to bring that potential to fruition. These myths remind the listener of the interconnectedness of all things, much like the elements of an egg are unified within its shell. Even in Greek mythology, echoes of the cosmic egg can be found in the Orphic tradition. From the swirling void, Nyx, the goddess of night, laid a silver egg. It cracked open to reveal Phans, the radiant being who became the first ruler of the universe. Phans embodied light, life, and order, bringing form to the formless and setting the cosmos in motion. Here, the egg is not merely a vessel but a force of transformation, its cracking symbolizing the moment when potential becomes reality. These myths, diverse yet eerily similar, underscore a profound truth. The egg is a universal symbol, representing life, fragility, and the boundless potential of creation. Its unbroken form evokes the mysteries of the womb, while its cracking marks the birth of everything we know. The cosmic egg contains dualities, light and shadow, chaos and cosmos, offering a perfect metaphor for the unity and duality of existence. But the egg is more than a symbol, it is a bridge between the earthly and the divine. In many cultures, it connects humanity to the cosmos, reminding us that creation is both intimate and grand. It speaks of beginnings, but it also whispers of endings, cycles repeating endlessly. The cosmic egg cradles not just the physical world, but the intangible essence of existence, hope, potential, and the awe-inspiring fragility of life. As one imagines the crack of that primordial shell, the burst of light, sound, and motion, it is impossible not to feel the weight of its significance. The egg, in its simplicity, contains the infinite. It reminds us that even the most unassuming things, a seed, a shell, an idea, can hold the power to birth worlds. When the world becomes too heavy with its own sins, too corrupt for even the gods to bear, water often rises to cleanse it, a force both destructive and renewing. Across cultures and continents, the flood serves as a second creation, a brutal yet necessary restart. It's a myth deeply ingrained in human consciousness, echoing fears of nature's power and the hope of beginning anew. The flood myths of ancient Mesopotamia are among the most haunting. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the gods, enraged by humanity's noise and recklessness, decide to obliterate their creation. Only Utnapishtim, warned by the god Ea, survives. Following divine instructions, he constructs a massive boat, gathers his family, animals, and the seeds of the earth, and waits for the deluge to engulf the world. When the waters recede, and his ark rests on a mountain, Utnapishtim releases a dove, a raven, and a swallow to search for dry land. The scene is stark and humbling, humanity's hubris submerged, but its spark preserved, ready to rebuild. In the Hebrew Bible, the flood follows a similar pattern but carries its own moral weight. The earth, steeped in wickedness, compels God to cleanse it with 40 days and nights of relentless rain. Noah, chosen for his righteousness, becomes the steward of life's survival, constructing an ark and gathering pairs of animals. As the waters subside, the sight of a rainbow seals a covenant between God and humankind, a promise that destruction will never again come so unyieldingly. This tale is both a reckoning and a reminder. Creation is precious, but its preservation demands reverence and care. The Aztecs envisioned cycles of creation and destruction, where floods played a pivotal role. In their mythology, the gods created and destroyed 4 previous worlds before the current one. During the era of the fourth sun, the gods unleashed a flood to cleanse the earth, transforming survivors into fish. For the Aztecs, the flood was not merely a punishment but a necessary step in the divine process of perfecting creation. Renewal required sacrifice, and the gods themselves were not exempt from this cost. Further east, Hindu mythology recounts the story of Manu, the first man, who was forewarned by a divine fish about an impending flood. Manu builds a great ship and ties it to the horn of the fish, which guides him through the chaos. After the floodwaters recede, Manu performs a sacrificial ritual, and life begins anew. The story intertwines themes of guidance, survival, and the cyclical nature of destruction and creation, a cornerstone of Hindu cosmology. In the myths of the Yoruba people, the earth was once submerged beneath a primordial sea. Obatala, one of the creator deities, descended from the heavens with a sacred chain and a pouch of earth. He scattered the earth upon the waters, forming the first land. While not a flood myth in the traditional sense, the imagery of water's dominance and subsequent creation mirrors the themes found in deluge stories worldwide, chaos giving way to order, water as both destroyer and midwife of life. The flood in Maori mythology, however, feels deeply personal. When Ringi and Papa, the Sky Father and Earth Mother, are separated by their children, their tears flood the land. This deluge isn't a punishment but a sorrowful consequence of creation itself. The Maori flood myth underscores the emotional complexity of renewal, where the birth of one world comes at the expense of profound loss. In the vast Pacific, Polynesian myths tell of great floods sent by angry gods to punish humanity or restore balance. In one tale, a man named Nuyu survives by building a canoe. His story carries echoes of Noah but is rooted in the rhythms of island life, where the ocean is both a giver and taker, a reminder of nature's omnipotence. Flood myths transcend time and geography because they speak to universal truths. They embody humanity's awe and terror in the face of nature's wrath and our deep understanding that renewal often comes at great cost. Floods cleanse, but they also rebuild. They strip away the old, making room for the new. They serve as a reminder that creation is not a static act, but an ongoing process, one born from cycles of destruction and rebirth. Water, with its dual power to nourish and annihilate, flows through these stories as both a punishment and a gift. The flood is a reckoning, a baptism, a promise. It drowns what is no longer worthy and leaves behind fertile ground for something better to rise. As the last drop falls and the sun breaks through, the survivors stand on a cleansed earth, facing the daunting yet hopeful task of creating a new world. It is not merely a second chance, it is the ultimate testament to life's resilience. Creation myths are more than stories, they are the collective heartbeat of humanity, pulsing with the raw emotions and fears that shape us. They speak to the most primal questions: who are we? Why are we here? What is the purpose of all this? Beneath the surface of gods, monsters, and cosmic battles lies a deeper psychological role. Creation myths give meaning to chaos, comfort in the unknown, and unity in the face of a vast, often indifferent universe. Imagine a world without answers, a time when the night sky was a vast, terrifying expanse and thunder was the voice of an angry god. To ancient people, the world was a place of constant uncertainty. Life was fragile, death was ever present, and the forces of nature seemed beyond comprehension. In this context, creation myths became a lifeline. They turned the chaos into a narrative, offering structure where none existed. The universe was no longer random, it was a story, and in that story, humanity had a place. For the individual, creation myths provide a sense of identity. When a child in ancient Greece heard the tale of Gaia birthing the Titans, they understood their world as rooted in family and cycles of growth. When a child of the Yoruba people learned of Oloran breathing life into clay figures, they saw themselves as a piece of divine artistry. These stories were mirrors, reflecting back not just the cosmos, but the individuals within it. They answered the question, "Where do I come from?" with a comforting certainty. On a communal level, creation myths build a shared identity. In every corner of the world, from the icy tundras of the Inuit to the tropical forests of the Amazon, these stories were told around fires and passed down through generations. They bonded communities with a common understanding of their origins and purpose. To the Sumerians, the tale of Enki and Ninhursag crafting humans from clay wasn't just a story, it was a shared truth, a unifying narrative that explained their relationship to the gods, the earth, and each other. Psychologically, creation myths also address a fundamental human fear, the fear of insignificance. In the vast expanse of time and space, it's easy to feel small, inconsequential. But creation myths elevate humanity. They tell us that we are not accidents, not fleeting blips in the cosmos. Instead, we are intentional, crafted by divine hands, born from the dreams of gods or the heart of the universe itself. The Aztecs believed they were made from the bones of previous generations, brought to life by the blood of the gods. This belief not only gave them a profound sense of purpose, but also a connection to their past and their deities. Creation myths also serve as a coping mechanism for loss and change. In many of these stories, creation comes from destruction, worlds are birthed from chaos, gods die to bring life, and the old gives way to the new. This cycle mirrors the human experience of grief and renewal. The Norse myth of Ymir, whose body became the world, teaches that even in death, there is creation. It's a reminder that endings are not final, they are beginnings in disguise. For children, creation myths are among the first lessons in morality and values. Through the actions of gods and creators, they learn about right and wrong, courage and hubris, order and chaos. The myths of the Maori, where Tane Mahuta separates his parents to create light, teach the value of balance and sacrifice. These stories imprint foundational beliefs, shaping not just individuals but entire cultures. In times of crisis, creation myths become anchors. When the earth quakes or the floods come, when life is upended by war or famine, these stories remind people of a larger order. They reassure that destruction is temporary, that chaos is part of a divine plan, and that renewal will follow. The Hindu cycle of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, creation, preservation, and destruction, offers a framework for understanding life's upheavals. Nothing is permanent, and yet nothing is truly lost. Even in modern times, where science answers many of the questions once reserved for mythology, the psychological role of creation myths persists. They continue to offer comfort, meaning, and identity in a way that scientific facts often cannot. The Big Bang may explain the origins of the universe, but it does not address the longing for purpose or the need to feel connected to something greater. Creation myths are not just relics of the past, they are living, breathing parts of the human psyche. They remind us that we are part of a story far larger than ourselves, that chaos has a purpose, and that life, no matter how fragile, is sacred. They are whispers from our ancestors, echoes of humanity's collective soul, and they continue to shape us in ways both profound and subtle. In their telling, we find not just answers but solace, not just origins but meaning. Creation myths often serve as more than stories of origin. They are blueprints for understanding morality, responsibility, and the delicate balance of existence. These myths don't simply tell us where we come from, they teach us how to live, guiding societies with unspoken rules and values embedded in their narratives. By weaving ethics into cosmic tales, they transform abstract principles into vivid lessons, shaping not just individuals but the collective conscience of entire cultures. In the beginning, there is usually chaos, a void, darkness, or disorder that must be tamed. The act of creation itself often embodies a moral ideal, the triumph of order over chaos. In many traditions, creation is not a moment of random chance, but a deliberate act of will, sacrifice, or compassion. Through these myths, cultures convey that life is not passive, it requires effort, care, and often struggle. Consider the Maori story of Tane Mahuta, who separated his parents, Ranginui, the Sky Father, and Papatuanuku, the Earth Mother, to bring light to the world. This act wasn't without pain. His parents' eternal embrace was broken, but it brought life, balance, and the flourishing of existence. The story conveys a profound ethical message. Sometimes, difficult decisions must be made for the greater good, even at personal cost. It is a tale of responsibility, illustrating the weight of actions taken in the pursuit of harmony. Similarly, in the story of Prometheus from Greek mythology, the Titan defies Zeus to bring fire to humanity. His act of rebellion was both a gift and a transgression, a symbol of enlightenment and progress, but also of defiance against authority. Prometheus's punishment, being bound and eternally tormented, speaks to the ethical complexity of his deed. The story poses questions that societies have wrestled with for centuries. What is the price of progress? Is it moral to defy power for the sake of the powerless? In creation myths, gods often shape humans with a sense of intention, as if embedding ethics into the fabric of our existence. The Yoruba tale of Obatala, who molds humanity from clay, teaches humility and the acceptance of imperfections. When Obatala drinks too much palm wine and creates some humans with physical differences, the myth doesn't condemn these creations. It highlights the divine nature of diversity and the need for compassion and understanding. The message is clear: all beings, regardless of their flaws, are sacred and deserve respect. Some myths emphasize humanity's responsibility toward the world. In Hindu cosmology, Vishnu's role as the preserver is crucial in maintaining balance. His incarnation as Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita carries ethical teachings that resonate universally: selfless action, devotion, and the pursuit of righteousness. These principles are not abstract, they are lived values, meant to guide individuals through the complexities of existence. The concept of reciprocity often lies at the heart of creation myths. The stories of Native American traditions, such as the Great Spirit or Mother Earth, emphasize the interconnectedness of all living things. The Lakota belief in Wakantanka as the source of life instills a moral duty to honor the land, animals, and elements. These myths remind us that creation is not a one-time act, it is a relationship, one that requires ongoing respect and care. Even myths with darker undertones provide ethical lessons. The Norse myth of Ymir, whose body becomes the world after he is slain by Odin and his brothers, reveals a stark truth: creation often comes at a cost. It is a reminder that our actions have consequences, that every choice carries a weight, and that we must strive to act responsibly even when faced with destruction or sacrifice. Creation myths also frame the human condition as one of duality, light and dark, creation and destruction, order and chaos. In this duality lies a profound ethical lesson. Life is not about eradicating the negative, but about finding balance. The Chinese myth of Pangu, whose body forms the heavens and earth, embodies this balance, as his life and death are equally essential to the world's existence. The lesson is one of harmony, teaching that opposing forces are not enemies but necessary parts of a whole. In modern contexts, creation myths continue to offer ethical insights. They remind us of our place in the grand story of existence, urging humility and responsibility. As we face challenges like climate change, inequality, and technological advancement, these ancient tales hold wisdom that transcends time. They urge us to consider not just what we can do, but what we should do, to act not out of selfishness, but out of a sense of interconnectedness and care. These myths are not relics, they are living, breathing frameworks that guide us in making sense of right and wrong, purpose and duty. They show us that creation is an ongoing act, one in which we all participate, shaping the world with our choices, our values, and our actions. Through their narratives, they invite us to embody the principles they teach, becoming creators not just of life, but of a world imbued with meaning, balance, and compassion. Across the world's diverse cultures, the stories of how the universe came to be share surprising similarities, recurrent patterns that speak to the universal human need to understand our origins, our purpose, and our place in the vastness of existence. These patterns transcend geographic, linguistic, and cultural boundaries, offering insight into the common psychological and spiritual concerns that drive humanity's quest for answers. One of the most striking recurring themes in creation myths is the notion of chaos preceding creation. In many traditions, the world begins as a formless void, a deep, chaotic abyss, or a primordial ocean. From this nothingness, the first god or cosmic force emerges, often to bring order to the void and shape the world into something structured and meaningful. This theme is found in the Babylonian Enuma Elish, where the god Marduk defeats the chaotic sea goddess Tiamat and uses her body to create the heavens and earth. In Greek mythology, the primordial entity Chaos gives birth to the first gods, setting the stage for the ordered cosmos. This motif speaks to a fundamental truth about human experience. Life often begins in uncertainty and disorder. Just as creation myths begin with chaos, so too do we encounter chaos in our lives, be it in the form of personal crises, societal upheavals, or global challenges. Yet, these myths offer hope, suggesting that from disorder can come new creation and renewed order, a theme that resonates deeply in times of turbulence. Another recurring pattern is the involvement of a creator god or divine being who performs an act of creation, often from their own body, mind, or spirit. In the Maori creation myth, Tane Mahuta creates humanity by sculpting figures from clay and breathing life into them. In Hinduism, the god Vishnu, in the form of a cosmic being, creates the universe through his own will, bringing forth the world from the chaos of the void. In the ancient Egyptian myth, Atum creates the first gods from his own essence, establishing the world from nothingness. This act of creation from within the Creator is symbolic of the deep connection between the divine and the material world. It suggests that creation is not something external, but something innately tied to the being that creates it. This theme reveals humanity's deep-seated belief that life, the world, and the cosmos are not separate from us, but are intimately connected to the very essence of existence. These gods, acting as creators, show us that creation comes from a place of profound internal power, highlighting the transformative potential within each being. Similarly, many creation myths emphasize the role of sacrifice in the birth of the world. Creation is not just an act of will or desire, it requires something to be given up, often at great cost. The Norse myth of Ymir tells the story of the giant whose body is dismembered and used by the gods to form the earth, sky, and seas. In Hindu cosmology, the god Purusha's sacrifice gives birth to the world and its creatures, with his body divided to create the diverse forms of life. In the biblical creation story, though less overt, there is an implicit sacrifice in the creation of humanity. God breathes life into clay, taking something inanimate and transforming it into a living being. These acts of sacrifice reflect a deep moral and existential truth. Creation is a process that demands something in return. It requires the divine, or the human, to give up part of themselves for the greater good. This sacrifice is symbolic of the interdependency of life, reminding us that the act of creating, whether it be a world, a family, or a society, requires effort, loss, and transformation. In this way, the creation myths provide a blueprint for how we are to live, by understanding that all things are interconnected and that creation is both a gift and a responsibility. A particularly fascinating pattern is the idea of divine duality, or the coexistence of opposing forces in the act of creation. Many cultures, such as the Aztecs, the Chinese, and the Zulu, emphasize the balance between masculine and feminine principles in creation. In the Yoruba religion, the god Olurin and the goddess Olorin represent complementary forces, one light and one dark, one male and one female. Similarly, the Chinese creation myth of Pangu portrays a divine duality where Pangu, born from the cosmic egg, embodies both the masculine and feminine aspects of creation, allowing him to create order from chaos. This duality suggests that creation is not a singular, one-sided act but a process that requires the integration of opposites. The union of masculine and feminine, light and dark, or heaven and earth, is seen as essential for the balance of the world. This theme mirrors the dual nature of human existence, the tension between conflicting desires, the struggle for harmony, and the search for balance in the face of life's contrasts. In many creation myths, the notion of rebirth or renewal is a recurring theme, reflecting the cyclical nature of life. The world is often created, destroyed, and then recreated, in an ongoing cycle of renewal. This is especially evident in Hindu cosmology, where Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva govern the cycle of creation, preservation, and destruction. Similarly, the ancient Egyptians believed in the cyclical creation of the world, with the sun god Ra dying and being reborn each day, symbolizing a constant cycle of renewal. The theme of rebirth speaks to humanity's inherent belief in life's cyclical nature. Just as the seasons change, bringing new growth after the death of winter, so too do creation myths emphasize the possibility of rebirth, new beginnings, and fresh starts. This motif encourages resilience, reminding us that after destruction or hardship, there is always the potential for renewal and new life. Another common thread in many creation myths is the divine imparting of knowledge or the first laws to humanity after creation. Often, the newly formed humans are gifted with wisdom, language, or moral codes that define their existence. In the Sumerian myth of Enki and Ninhursag, the gods bestow upon humanity the wisdom of agriculture and civilization. In the Bible, Adam and Eve are given the knowledge of good and evil after their creation, an act that defines their humanity and introduces moral agency into the world. This imparting of knowledge reflects the idea that creation is not a mere act of physical formation, it is also an act of intellectual and spiritual empowerment. Humanity is not just created to exist, but to understand, learn, and grow. These myths suggest that creation is a gift of awareness, urging us to seek knowledge, explore our potential, and understand our moral responsibilities in the world. The recurrence of these patterns in creation myths highlights the universal themes that define human existence: the struggle between chaos and order, the necessity of sacrifice, the balance of opposing forces, the cyclical nature of life, and the gift of knowledge. These myths resonate deeply because they tap into the shared experiences, fears, and hopes of humanity, reminding us of our place in the grand tapestry of existence and the responsibilities that come with being a part of the ever-unfolding process of creation. From the dawn of human civilization to the present day, creation deities have undergone significant transformations, reflecting the shifting cultural, societal, and philosophical landscapes of the world. The evolution of these divine figures, who were once central to the understanding of the cosmos, mirrors humanity's evolving relationship with the universe, nature, and the divine. The gradual changes in creation myths reveal how ancient people grappled with the mysteries of existence, the forces that shaped their lives, and the need for a higher power to explain their origins. As societies advanced, so did their ideas about the divine creators and the nature of existence itself. In the earliest stages of human history, creation myths were deeply tied to the natural world. These gods were often personifications of natural forces such as the sky, the earth, water, and the sun. They were forces of nature that humans could interact with and whose powers could be understood through the observable patterns of life. For example, in many indigenous cultures, the sun was worshipped as a central force of life, a creator that governed the seasons, planted crops, and gave light to the world. In ancient Egypt, the sun god Ra was one of the most prominent deities, believed to be the first god who created the universe and ordered chaos. His daily journey across the sky mirrored the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The gods of early creation myths were often not just creators but also active participants in the world. They were sometimes volatile, unpredictable beings whose actions directly influenced the fate of the world. For example, in many African and Native American creation stories, the creator gods were part of a pantheon of spirits that could shape or destroy the world with their power. They were often seen as intermediaries between the human world and the forces of nature, acting as both guides and disciplinarians for the people they created. However, as human societies became more complex, so too did their conception of creation gods. With the rise of urbanization, agriculture, and more structured religions, the gods themselves began to take on more abstract qualities. They were no longer just elemental forces of nature, they became more personified, individualized deities who could control not only the physical world but also the moral and spiritual realms. This shift is particularly noticeable in ancient civilizations such as Sumer, Egypt, and Greece, where gods like Enki, Atum, and Zeus were seen as sovereign rulers of the cosmos, not merely embodiments of natural forces. In the Sumerian myth, for example, the gods were not only responsible for the creation of the earth, but also for the establishment of divine law and the order of society. Enki, as the god of wisdom, was not just a creator of the physical world, but also a divine guide to humans, teaching them the arts of civilization, such as writing, agriculture, and law. Similarly, in Greek mythology, Zeus, though primarily associated with the sky and thunder, was also the ruler of justice, the lawgiver, and the king of the gods, showing how creation was now intertwined with the regulation of human life. The conceptualization of creation gods also evolved with the rise of monotheistic religions, where the idea of a single, all-powerful God became more prominent. In the Abrahamic religions, Yahweh is not just a creator God, but a God who has dominion over all aspects of existence, both physical and moral. Yahweh's creation of the world in the book of Genesis is an act of divine will, separating light from darkness, land from sea, and creating humans in his own image. In contrast to earlier polytheistic creation myths, Yahweh's creation is an act of singular authority, where the entire cosmos is shaped by one God's power and intent. The move toward monotheism represented a profound shift in humanity's understanding of the divine. The complexity of multiple gods, each with its domain and influence, gave way to a simpler, more unified vision of creation. In this view, creation was not a cosmic struggle between gods, as seen in many polytheistic traditions, but a deliberate, orderly act by a singular deity. This shift mirrored the growing intellectual and philosophical trends of the time, where the focus moved from explaining creation through mythological stories to understanding it through theology and abstract reasoning. As civilization advanced into the modern era, particularly with the rise of science and reason, the role of creation gods began to shift again. The rise of scientific inquiry, particularly in the 17th and 18th centuries, led to a more mechanistic view of the universe. While creation myths still held importance in religious traditions, the idea of a divine creator who actively shaped the cosmos began to be replaced by a view of the universe as governed by natural laws. The belief in a creator God who directly intervened in the physical world was gradually overshadowed by a belief in a more impersonal, distant force, if not by the outright rejection of the divine altogether. This shift is evident in the development of deism, a philosophical movement that emerged in the 18th century. Deists believed in a creator God who set the universe in motion but did not intervene in its workings. For deists, the universe was like a clock, created by a divine watchmaker who set everything in motion and then allowed it to run according to natural laws. This was a significant departure from the more interactive, personal gods of earlier myths, reflecting the increasing influence of science on human thought. In more contemporary times, creation myths have continued to evolve in both religious and cultural contexts. Many modern creation myths are more metaphorical, focusing on themes of personal growth, transformation, and the creation of meaning in a world that seems increasingly chaotic and fragmented. For example, in modern spirituality and New Age beliefs, creation is often seen as a process of self-realization or spiritual awakening, where individuals are seen as co-creators of their reality, shaping their worlds through consciousness and intention. These newer interpretations reflect a shift from an external, divine creator to a more internal, human-centered view of creation, where each individual has a role in manifesting their own universe. The evolution of creation deities also extends into the realm of popular culture, where the theme of creation is explored in new and exciting ways. From comic book characters like Marvel's Celestials, who are cosmic beings that shape galaxies, to films like The Matrix and Interstellar, the concept of creation continues to captivate the human imagination. These modern depictions of creation gods and forces reflect society's ongoing fascination with the origins of existence and our place in the cosmos. They often blend mythological themes with contemporary concerns, exploring the role of technology, artificial intelligence, and humanity's relationship to a seemingly infinite universe. In every phase of human history, from ancient tribal communities to modern-day thinkers, the evolution of creation deities has mirrored humanity's changing views of the world, the divine, and our place in the universe. As science, philosophy, and culture continue to evolve, so too will our understanding of the divine act of creation, with new myths and interpretations emerging to reflect the needs and concerns of each new generation. Yet, despite the changing forms and faces of these gods, the underlying question remains the same: what is the origin of everything? And as long as humans continue to seek answers, the stories of creation will evolve, providing meaning and context for our ongoing search for understanding. In a world where science and technology continually reshape how we understand the universe, one might think that ancient creation myths would hold less significance. Yet, the stories passed down through generations still resonate deeply within the fabric of human culture and psychology. Despite the rapid advancements in knowledge, creation myths endure because they speak to fundamental truths about our existence, our place in the cosmos, and the forces that govern our lives. They serve as emotional anchors, offering meaning in an ever-changing world, providing answers to questions that modern science, with all its precision and logic, may never fully address. The shift towards rational thought in the modern era, especially after the rise of scientific inquiry, often positioned creation myths as mere folklore or relics of a more primitive time. Figures like Darwin and Newton, with their groundbreaking work in evolution and physics, challenged the need for divine explanations of the origins of life and the universe. However, the rise of scientific understanding hasn't erased the relevance of creation myths. It has, instead, highlighted their role as cultural touchstones that bridge the spiritual and the material. One reason for their continued importance is that creation myths go beyond explaining how the world came into being. They reflect our deepest fears, desires, and values. The gods in these myths often embody traits we associate with power, justice, love, and conflict, making them relevant to the human experience in every age. The cosmic battles, the struggles of deities, and the formation of the world mirror our own struggles for meaning, identity, and purpose in an often chaotic and unpredictable existence. Take, for instance, the Judeo-Christian creation story in Genesis. The narrative of a singular, omnipotent God creating the world from nothing speaks to the desire for order, structure, and purpose. In a world where chaos often seems to reign, be it in politics, nature, or human emotions, the idea of a purposeful, orderly creation can provide comfort. The creation of humanity in God's image provides a sense of worth, that we are not accidental, that we matter in the grand scheme of things. In a modern world where existential questions about life's meaning are prevalent, this story offers a foundational belief in human dignity and divine intention. Similarly, in the Greek myth of Gaia and Uranus, the earth and sky gave birth to the universe, a creation born of primal, unyielding forces. This story can be seen as a reflection of the ever-present struggle between stability and chaos, the forces that shape both the physical world and our emotional lives. In modern times, as we face global crises like climate change, the myth of Gaia resonates more than ever. Gaia is not merely a mother of creation, but also a symbol of nature's delicate balance and the destructive potential of imbalance. As humanity grapples with environmental destruction, the myth of Gaia becomes a cautionary tale, reminding us of the interconnectedness between human action and the well-being of the earth. In many indigenous cultures, creation myths are intrinsically linked to land, animals, and the elements, emphasizing a profound relationship between humans and nature. These myths hold powerful lessons about stewardship and respect, resonating strongly in today's climate of ecological uncertainty. As humanity faces the devastating consequences of environmental degradation, these ancient stories serve as a reminder of the sacred bond between creation and humanity's responsibility to protect it. The Lakota Sioux's Great Spirit, Wakantanka, a creator and sustainer of life, emphasizes the interconnectedness of all living things, teaching that human actions must align with the natural world. In an age of rapid industrialization and consumerism, this story calls for a return to balance, urging modern societies to reconsider their relationship with nature. In the modern world, creation myths also play an important role in the arts and literature. Writers, filmmakers, and artists have long turned to these ancient stories to explore themes of origin, identity, and creation itself. From classic literature to modern films like The Matrix or Avatar, the concept of creation remains a central motif. In these stories, the question of who or what created the world is often inseparable from the deeper inquiry about the nature of reality, human consciousness, and the possibility of a higher power or force. These modern interpretations keep creation myths alive by reinvigorating them with new relevance, allowing them to evolve in ways that speak to contemporary anxieties and hopes. Consider the rise of virtual realities and artificial intelligence. The notion of an omnipotent creator who shapes entire worlds is being re-explored through technology. Stories like The Matrix blur the line between creation and simulation, asking fundamental questions about the nature of reality, control, and human agency. As the world becomes more technologically advanced, creation myths take on new layers of meaning, questioning whether the universe we inhabit is real or if it could be a construct, akin to a computer-generated simulation. These ideas challenge the way we view the ancient myths, but also affirm their relevance in a world that increasingly finds itself entangled with technology and artificial worlds. Furthermore, the rise of secularism and New Age spiritualities has given birth to new interpretations of creation. While mainstream religions like Christianity, Islam, and Judaism still hold sway in many parts of the world, other belief systems, often centered around personal experiences of the divine, continue to grow in influence. These spiritual movements often draw on a wide array of creation myths, blending elements of different traditions to form a more eclectic understanding of the divine. The New Age movement, for example, emphasizes the interconnectedness of all life, the power of human consciousness in shaping reality, and the divine energy that flows through everything. These views often draw inspiration from Eastern traditions like Hinduism and Buddhism, where creation is seen as an ongoing process, a cycle of destruction and rebirth that mirrors personal transformation. Creation myths also offer a counterpoint to the challenges of the modern world. In a time when existential fears about the environment, politics, and personal well-being often feel overwhelming, these stories give shape to our deepest concerns. They reassure us that there is meaning and purpose to our existence, even when the world around us seems chaotic. They provide narratives in which we are not passive victims of random forces, but active participants in the ongoing act of creation, be it through our spiritual journeys or our role in the physical world. Perhaps one of the most powerful ways creation myths continue to impact modern society is in their ability to inspire hope and resilience. Whether it's the idea of divine intervention or the belief that the world can be remade through collective effort, creation myths provide narratives that humans turn to in times of hardship. These myths encourage us to believe in a world that can be transformed, that life can spring forth from chaos, and that creation, though fraught with challenges, is an ongoing process, one that we can shape and influence. In this ever-changing world, the question of creation, how the world began and how we came to be, is as relevant as ever. Whether through ancient myths, modern stories, or scientific inquiry, the desire to understand our origins and purpose continues to drive humanity forward. Creation myths, far from being obsolete, are living stories that offer comfort, wisdom, and insight into the human experience. They continue to shape how we view ourselves, our place in the universe, and our relationship with the divine. And in a world where so much is uncertain, these stories remain a steady reminder that, regardless of the age we live in, the act of creation is eternal. As the world continues to evolve with advances in science, technology, and societal progress, one might assume that ancient creation myths would slowly fade into obscurity. But instead, these stories have endured, woven into the very fabric of human culture and consciousness. They remain powerful, not because they offer precise explanations of how the universe came into being, but because they provide something more essential, a sense of meaning, connection, and identity. Creation myths have always been more than just stories. They are reflections of the human condition, our hopes, fears, dreams, and struggles. They express the unanswerable questions that linger in our minds. Where did we come from? Why are we here? What is the nature of the universe? And, perhaps most importantly, they offer a way to understand our place in the vast, often incomprehensible world around us. In a modern world that is constantly changing and growing more complex, these myths continue to resonate with people across the globe. They are not just relics of a bygone era, but living traditions that continue to inspire, comfort, and challenge us. Creation myths hold the wisdom of ancient cultures, passed down through generations, and in a sense, they act as a bridge between past and present, linking us to our ancestors while offering guidance for the future. At their core, these myths provide us with a narrative framework, a way to interpret the world. They remind us that, despite the unpredictability of life, there is a profound interconnectedness to everything, that the universe itself is born out of chaos and order, destruction and creation, and that we are part of something much greater than ourselves. The gods and goddesses, the primal forces, the heroes and creators, they all symbolize the eternal struggle and harmony between forces that shape not just the physical world, but our inner worlds as well. The legacy of creation myths is also tied to their adaptability. As humanity faces new challenges and discoveries, these ancient stories have been reinterpreted and woven into modern contexts. Whether in literature, art, or new spiritual practices, creation myths continue to be reshaped to reflect the concerns of the contemporary world. They evolve to meet the needs of each generation, always offering a sense of hope, of possibility, and of renewal. And yet, even in a time of remarkable technological advances and scientific breakthroughs, the questions at the heart of creation myths, who are we? Where do we come from? What is the meaning of life, remain as relevant as ever. Despite all our discoveries about the universe, there is still something deeply humbling about the fact that we are just one small part of a vast, mysterious cosmos. Creation myths, with their deeply rooted spiritual and emotional truths, remind us of this humility and urge us to embrace the mystery. Creation myths have also become a vital tool for understanding human psychology and the collective unconscious. The universal patterns in these stories, such as the hero's journey, the triumph of order over chaos, or the power of divine intervention, speak to the shared human experience. In many ways, these myths provide a roadmap for navigating the complexities of life, offering insight into the challenges we face as individuals, communities, and societies. They help us make sense of the world by framing our experiences within larger, often cosmic narratives. Ultimately, the legacy of creation myths is that they are timeless. They have survived because they resonate with something deep within us. They connect us to our ancestors, to each other, and to the greater universe. And they will continue to endure, reshaping themselves to meet the needs of future generations. Whether we believe in the literal truth of these stories or view them as symbolic expressions of our shared human experience, creation myths will always be a part of who we are, a testament to the enduring power of stories that help us understand the world and our place within it.